easier to vote yes than otherwise. But still, that's a very strong support of it. And I find it fascinating. And I think clearly they're following the West Virginia model, meaning to secede from their own state and form a new state, one not dominated by the Cook County and Chicagoland area. But I would love to see, if this moves further, why can't Missouri get aggressive here and try to talk about expanding Missouri? That's the topic of the blog post I wrote on it. Let's grow Missouri literally in this case. And I'd love to see something like happen. Let's buy Greenland at the national level and let's expand and Missouri at the state level here. I think this is great. But in all seriousness, as this builds, and it's obviously still going to be very, very difficult and a long road down, but eventually you get enough counties passing it that somebody has to take it seriously. And I think it's fascinating. It's been a long time since we even added a new state to America, about 60 years. And it's been a really long time since new states were created from the boundaries of old states. It's really only happened twice in American history, Maine and better known example of West Virginia during the Civil War. But why couldn't we have it happen a third time? I'm all for it.
Dave, I think it's a fantastic rebellious idea. We've been talking to Dave Stouffer about that. And isn't it true, too, that on the Missouri side, where the counties are near Missouri, if one other county goes along with this as well, it could add additional counties to the possibility of joining Missouri?
Well, what I wrote when I said something along those lines, I was just talking about how many states of these either border Missouri or would border counties that have also border counties or border counties that have also passed it that connect to other counties in Missouri. And it's like 27 of the 33 counties could be connected to Missouri that way. And if just like 2 more counties pass it, then you could get like 31 or 32 of them to connect to Missouri. So
come on, counties.
Sort of a mapping exercise there. So yeah, I mean, no reason that if something like this were to happen down the line, I would love for the fact that instead of creating their own state of Southern Illinois or whatever they may choose to call it, expanding Missouri to the east. Why couldn't we try that? I mean, we've grown Missouri with additional territory after statehood before.
Mm-hmm.
In the 1830s. In the 1830s, there was the Platte purchase of some land from Indian tribes. It was unorganized territory, and we added 6 new counties in far northwest Missouri after statehood. So we've grown. Now, that wasn't from another state, obviously. That was from unorganized territory. But we've grown this state before, after the original boundaries of statehood. And, of course, the boot heel wasn't part of Missouri back when it was a territory. So that was sort of added into Missouri during the statehood process. It was part of Missouri when it became a state. So it's happened before. These are the type of things that don't really happen much anymore ever since America, reached manifest destiny and expanded out to the Pacific Ocean and then Hawaii and Alaska. But I say bring Puerto Rico in as the 51st state, buy Greenland, and let's expand Missouri. Buy stocks in Rand McNally. I mean, people are going to have to buy new atlases for all this
new
stuff.
Flags. We got to get new flags.
Absolutely. It's going to be great for the flag industry.
All right. I got some questions here. Is it weird or is it impossible to have Missouri absorb these counties because we have a river that separates us? Are there any states that are separated by a river but still the same state?
Yeah, of course there are. The Missouri River cuts Missouri in half.
Yeah.
And that's an enormous river.
That's true.
Yeah,
true.
A river doesn't. There are many rivers, admittedly, that would tend to be smaller ones, since larger rivers often do form borders. But yeah, the Missouri River bisects our state, and we're on both sides of it.
Yep,
the Illinois River, not quite as large as the Missouri or Mississippi, but still a very large river, bisects the western 1/3 of Illinois from the eastern 2/3 of Illinois. So I don't think there's anything legally preventing a state from expanding across a river.
Okay. Going back to what you originally said, that it was on the ballot, but it's not binding. Well, what the hell? Why do we bother voting on it if it's not binding?
Well, that's probably a question for Dave Stouffer. But having read the Illinois separation referendum on Facebook, where they have a very active Facebook page that people should check out, I think the goal is to get enough counties to approve this that the United States Congress and the state of Illinois have to start taking it seriously. You can ignore it if 2 or 3 counties have passed it, but if suddenly you get 60 counties passing it by wide margins, maybe it becomes impossible to ignore it. West Virginia was the attempt to secede from Virginia that began, as I understand it, before the Civil War. Like, they were hoping to do this for a long time. Then the Civil War started, and all of a sudden it became much easier for them to do that. They wanted to remain in the Union, create their own state. Congress became much more amenable to that. Needless to say, I don't want anything like that to happen here.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we want to do this peacefully and at the ballot box. I shouldn't have to say that, but I will, just to cover myself.
Right.
So West Virginia tried it before and took a few years, but succeeded. And I presume that that's the model that the Illinois separation referendum group is following here.
So you think they want to be a new state rather than be absorbed by any other state?
Well, that's what they say, right? That is the plan. I think that's probably an easier thing to get across right now, to get away from Illinois. But let's say it gets, we hit the fork in the road and you have to decide new state or join adjoining states. Like, if you get serious about this, it might be easier to join an adjoining state that has a large population, a large economy, and a population that is more in tune philosophically with the people of southern and central Illinois. And maybe they would then choose to join a different state as opposed to creating their own relatively small state, although it wouldn't necessarily be a tiny state, but still not that big. So that's where I'd like Missouri to sort of launch an effort here to convince people to join us. Let's grow Missouri literally.
Right. And let's move before Kentucky or Tennessee or Indiana, beat us to it, and then they get bigger and their population's bigger and all the benefits that go with that. So, and this isn't a new issue to Kenny and me, because we've been talking to Dave Stouffer about this literally for 3 years.
And there are it's not like there's not efforts elsewhere to do things like this. I know in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, there's been a statehood movement for a while. In Eastern Washington and Eastern Oregon, you have counties who absolutely have, and people who have similar, tired of being dominated by Portland and Seattle and the left-wing domination of those cities. And there's a movement to consider the same type of thing out in that area. We don't need to get bound to 50 states with no changes. We had lots of changes in American land and territory for almost 200 years after the founding of this country. Not quite 200, but almost. We've just kept it exactly the same since, I believe it was Hawaii who came in after Alaska. They came in sort of back to back in 59 and 60.
Nope.
So
both in 59.
I believe Hawaii was the last. It might have been Alaska, but those two. But we haven't really had any changes of significance since then.
Alaska was first, then Hawaii, and that was both in 1959. Actually, I only know that because I was born around there. So
right.
Before we get now, I guess we're on it now. Do you know how many people don't know how many states there were in this country when they were born? A ton.
I would bet a ton, right? That would be a great. All the baby boomers born between 46 and 59. That'd be a wonderful question for a lot of them.
I'm talking about when you're talking to kids, okay? Because it comes up all the time. Because I can't keep my mouth shut. So if I'm in the grocery store and I'm in line and something comes up about how old you are, I say when I was born, there was only 48 states. And that's something I'm weirdly proud of, because like both flags, 48 and 50 states, represent my life. And then I'll say to the kid, how many states were there when you were born? And they were like, I don't know, 52. I'm like, no, 52 cards in a deck.
Or like Barack Obama, 57.
Right. But also people don't know, and I think this is stuff you should know, how many states there were when you were born and who was president when you were born. People don't know who the president was when you were born. Who was president when you were born, Dave?
Richard Nixon. He was that was the year he was reelected, and of course that second term didn't end very well.
Right. How about you, Kenny? Who was president when you were born?
I don't know.
Kennedy, right?
Yeah.
You were born 61?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Kennedy. So when I was born, Eisenhower was president. How about that?
That was a good era. Those were good years.
All right. So let's get back to what we were talking about here. Ken, what's that place in Michigan that's totally red, totally Trump?
Oh yeah, the place we go to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We go to South Haven.
South Haven, Michigan. You know, which Michigan was a blue state for so many years. Now it's turned red, by the way. But there's this little, what is it? South Haven?
Yeah, it's South Haven. Yeah, and Grand Haven. I would put them mixed too, but they're boating communities too.
And totally Republican conservative states. So I forgot why you brought up Michigan. Why'd you bring up Michigan?
Who, me?
No.
I brought up Michigan because of the Upper Peninsula.
Oh, right.
It's always been sort of a nascent movement for states up there. There's of course only about 19 people who live on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So very large geographic area, small population, but beautiful, beautiful country if you've never been there.
I never have. Kenny had. Oh, yeah, you have, right?
What?
That South Haven is that where?
Oh, we've been all over Michigan
That's
for the
right.
last 15 years. Yeah, we love going up. We love going up there in the summer, Dave, in August.
All right, buddy. Keep up the fight here. You know, I know Dave Stouffer is going to continue to fight, and I want Dave to get credit on this because he's the one that's really been spearheading and championing the whole thing. All right, Dave. I read your thing. We can hear that and see that actually on ShowMeInstitute.org. Correct?
Absolutely. And there's ShowMeInstitute.org. People can follow me on Twitter at David C. Stokes, Twitter, also known as X. And again, the Illinois separation referendum on Facebook, where Dave Stouffer and others have been working on this. Good site and sort of if you follow state local government like I do, this is a fascinating topic. So let's keep moving on it, and I hope they keep moving forward over there.
All right, winner and still heavyweight champion of municipal policy, David Stokes. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Always great talking with you.
Thank you. This is getting legs, Ken.
I know it is. It's really interesting to me.
On our side of the river, people are not paying attention to this at all. They don't, unless they're listening to the show.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think as things move forward, if it does move forward, I think they'll start listening.
And I think this past election day is one of those flashpoints.
I totally agree with you there. Yeah. Okay. And by the way, in 1960, that was, I think, Richard Nixon's first attempt to become president, but he lost because he was sweating so badly. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
On the TV, it looked like the opponent won, but then Nixon on the radio sounded like he should have won.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Ken. You're exactly right. Maybe we'll ask Mr. Connors the questions we asked Dave Stouffer in just a bit.
Yeah.
See if he knows. Mr. Connors' Neighborhood is next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
We demand a lower work week, 32-hour work week.
Very well, we'll give them shorter hours. We'll start by cutting their lunch hour to 20 minutes.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
Tim Jones here for AMF Electric, in business since 1965, offering a full line of industrial, commercial, residential, electrical, and system services. AMF is a merit shop. They work successfully for all owners who favor freedom of economic choice. Yes, even on other AFL trades jobs. At AMF Electric, they're unabashedly pro-American. Call them, 314-647-4066. Online, amfelectric.com. That's amfelectric.com.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the Morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Company, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Over here, dear.
You're listening to The Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL.
Good morning. Hey, if you have a phone, a smartphone, I almost said cell phone. Are they still cell phones?
Mm-hmm.
Cell phones,
Yeah,
they're still cell phones, right?
Sure.
If you have a smartphone, it's magically also a radio, okay? If you get our app, just go to wherever you buy your apps, download it, and then it's free. It's free, and it's only 2 pushes. Ken makes fun of me for saying 2 pushes.
2 pushes.
1 push to open your app, which you'd have to do with any app, right? That's not even really an extra push. And then...
You know what? I just realized, just for a second, it just dawned on me.
You're going to make fun
what
of me?
This reminds me of. When you say 2 pushes, it reminds me of this guy.
You start out with a little bit of oil. You fry some garlic.
It's 2 pushes.
And you throw in some tomatoes.
Tomatoes with the fat hands.
Make sure it doesn't stick.
Make sure it doesn't stick. You take 2 pushes.
You shove in all your sausage.
All your sausage. You push in all your sausage.
And a little bit of sugar. And that's my trick.
And it's 2 pushes.
Hold on. This is not the same as all your sausage and your meatballs. I think there's a little different.
The 2 pushes.
Anyway, push number 1 is to open the app, right? You have to do that with any app on your phone. And then 1 more push to push the play button, and you're there.
And then you're done. 2 pushes.
Shut up. Let's kick it. We're going to ask Larry some questions we were just talking about here before he walked in the door.
St. Louis, it's Mr. Connor's neighborhood.
Good morning, Mr. Connors.
Good morning, Ken and Vic. Seriously, I'm over here with tears in my eyes laughing. You guys are so fun. Your opening, by the way, that you guys put together for the show, I love it every day. What kind of show you're putting on here? You guys are super. You are outstanding, and I'm always honored to be part of it. Thank you for inviting me.
Just a little inside baseball behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
When I hear Al Pacino say, "What kind of show are you putting on here today?" That's my last chance for a sip before I can.
2 seconds before we open the mic.
I believe it. Sip. And when do you get the pushes in?
Oh, I could push and do that at the same time.
Really?
All right. If you guys could stop making fun of me, I'd like to move on.
Okay.
For a minute.
We were talking to. You want to start with
2
me
minutes.
today? You want to start with me? We were just talking to David Stokes from ShowMe.
Yeah.
And our great friend and listener, Dave Stouffer, is the one who started this whole secession thing from the state of Illinois.
Right. We talked about him on election night. Yeah.
And that's right. We did, Larry. Right. Thank you. And he's worked so hard on this. And now that it's overwhelmingly being voted for.
I love it.
But not binding. I don't understand that.
But
I think it's good. So anyway, it got us onto the topic of when people ask me how old I am, because I'm always a wise ass and I can't keep my mouth shut. I always say, when I was born, there were 48 states.
Mm-hmm.
And it freezes them.
Yeah.
And then I'll ask them, how many states were there when you were born? Right.
Uh-huh.
A question that the answer hasn't changed from 1959 to now.
Yeah, I know.
And they don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Kids don't know how many. So when I said 52, that was actually my daughter. I said, how many states were there when you were born? She goes, I don't know, 52. I'm like, there's still not 52. So that can't be the right answer.
Well, I'm not sure that we have 50 because one is just a big chunk of ice. Then in Texas, we'd chip it up, put it in our jack.
So if you don't mind me asking.
Yes, sir.
How many states were there when you were born?
There were 48.
Yeah, me too.
Because I was there and watching Alaska and Hawaii come in.
Right.
And yeah.
Alaska
you an
and
anchor
Hawaii
back
came
then?
just in.
Beg pardon?
Were you an anchor back then?
No, I was still driving the boat for George Washington at the time, our first president.
So that was the next question.
Oh, what's that?
Who was president when you were born?
That'd be Harry Truman.
Wow.
Harry Truman. And in fact,
see, he knew it right away.
Yeah,
well,
he did.
These are things that every American should know.
Well, it would have been FDR, but of course, then his death.
Mm-hmm.
And Truman, I remember a quote from him. That's why I really know it was Truman. He said, after his death, and then he also learned about the atomic bomb for the first time. He didn't know anything about it because he had no reason to know.
That fascinates me that Truman had no idea about the Manhattan Project.
It was
Totally threw it on him by surprise.
And he said, I felt like the whole heavens, all the stars and planets had fallen on me. I mean, that's a pretty descriptive, total shock.
So to come into the presidency,
right,
then find out, hey, we've been working on this little thing called an atomic bomb. And then he's the one that's responsible for dropping it.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
speaking of the Manhattan Project, if I can digress just briefly, Trump putting Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, and they're talking about bringing in Dr. Ron Paul,
yeah,
to go and cut and slice up this government and get rid of all this. That is, I've heard it referred to, and I can't recall who actually made the statement. That is a modern day Manhattan Project.
Yes.
Just blow all this crap up.
Vivek Ramaswamy was either kidding or not kidding. I don't know. When he said, we're going to check your social security number. If it ends in an even number, you're fired.
Spin the wheel.
This is what Donald Trump ran on.
Yep.
He telegraphed it from the very beginning. He got the people behind him ready to go. And now they're complaining about it. And it's like, what are you complaining about? We're trying to downsize this government. This government is out of control.
Well, because a lot of them have their jobs on the line. And the surprise announcement, I'll have to admit, caught me off guard. And I was not sure about it in the beginning. It was Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. And John Daniel Davidson for the Federalist wrote a piece. He's going to be a guest on today. And he wrote a piece saying that Gaetz is a perfect guy because he's been a target of the weaponized government. And he will go in there like a wrecking ball. And then Senator Johnson of Wisconsin was walking somewhere, and reporters grabbed him and said, what do you think about Matt Gaetz and his chance of being confirmed? And he unfolded a poster of Admiral Levine standing next to Sam Brenton in his pretty suit and dress.
Bright red dress.
Yeah.
Bright red dress and
said,
heels.
Did you guys question their ability? I love it.
And they'll be offended by that.
Oh, yeah. Well, tough.
The left would
just
be
tough.
So when we're talking about losing jobs, I hate to sound completely callous about this, but I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Nobody cared about Ken and I. I've lost jobs 4 times in this market.
I'm surprised you still have this. Will be quite honest. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Ken, did I say what I was thinking?
I think you were thinking. Yeah.
I'm sorry about it. Go ahead, sir.
I was going to say all of that through no fault of my own. I was never fired with cause.
Actually, when he was at the river and I was the only one left at the river during that bloodbath, he was number 1 and they fired him.
That was so stupid.
He was number 1 in the market.
They had to send me a posthumous ratings bonus check.
I was number 1 at Channel 4 when they decided between the Obama interview and anything else they could dig up that I was out. That has nothing to do with its current Channel 4 ownership. Entirely different group, different people. So don't take it out on them. But yeah, they did the same thing.
I think that when they get in there, right, when Elon and Vivek get in there, that you're going to see the debt shrink. Right? I mean, start with the Department of Education, 4,400 employees just in the Department of Education, $68 billion annual budget. And that's the smallest agency.
Yeah.
Holy God.
Get all that back to the states, let them start controlling education. You know, I'm sure when he began it, he had good intentions because the man is and still is a living saint. Yeah. But when Carter proposed it and got it put in, I mean, he had good intentions, but, you know, it just got, like any regulatory agency or a cabinet position, they become actually the same as what they're supposed to be regulating.
But they always start with good intentions.
Oh, yeah.
The feels on the left, and then they take it, Larry, and they make it into a monster that all they do is they basically what happens is we spend and they take.
There is an old saying, the way to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. I want to talk about some not political stuff with you. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yesterday, well, I guess this kind of is. Last night, Donald Trump had a little event.
You brought Trump's name in already. Go ahead.
Oh, I changed my mind. We're going to stay on politics. Just this
midstream.
Just this story. He had a little event last night, which I believe was at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Did you see who introduced him?
Yes.
And compared him to George Washington?
Yes.
To make changes that will change the world?
And he compared him to being a mythical legend, and he loves mythical legends.
And I am currently watching his latest TV show.
There you go.
And who it was?
Sylvester Stallone.
Yes,
That's
sir.
awesome.
You know how happy it made me that Sly Stallone is not only conservative, but a total Trump supporter?
Yeah.
I love it.
Go ahead. Make fun of Rocky. Say something. I dare you, Left, to say something about Rocky. Go ahead.
Well, the whole Trump story is a Rocky story.
It is.
It
You're
is.
right,
It
Larry.
really is.
It is. And then the big story is, and we got all our problems with Netflix fixed up. So we got Netflix, Mike Tyson and Jake Paul tonight.
Yeah.
What do you think about that fight?
I don't know. Tyson, I think, is pushing it a little bit, but then again, he's, you know, I
Did you
wouldn't
see his training videos?
say he's not. No, I have not. But tough.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You don't think they took stuff and recycled it or anything like that, right?
What? Like
old video or anything, or ran it through 3 or 4 times when he only did 3 reps?
I don't know.
Well, I saw.
You know what? Anything's possible.
AI nowadays,
and you don't know, right? You don't know what's real and what's not.
I saw a real quick clip on television of them doing the weigh-in thing.
Right.
And something happened to where Mike Tyson swung at him or hit him in the face.
He did.
Well, and then the guy,
I missed
that
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul guy, he didn't move. He was like, "Come on, do it again." I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be
Okay, wait a minute. It's different. He knows. Everybody knows nothing's going to break out into a fight there.
Right.
It's a weigh-in.
But
You
I
know what
still
mean?
agree with Ken. He didn't even flinch.
No.
Somebody's ear might be bitten off before it's over with.
I think bygones can be bygones in the ear biting thing.
Are you a Mike Tyson fan?
I am.
Okay, no, I am too. I want the older guy to beat the younger guy.
Everybody's saying, I want Tyson to knock him out in the first round. I'm like, no. I want to see a good maybe 6, 7, 8 rounds before this thing ends.
Great quick story. When Sonny Liston was going against and knocking everybody down, we were living in Big Spring, Texas. My dad got off work early, drove to Odessa, Permian. They had a big auditorium, and they were going to be showing it on TV as one of the few times one of those was broadcast. Dad got a late start. He walks in the door just to see the ref going, 8,
oh
9.
no!
He turned around, walks back to his car, and said, "Oh, wait a minute! They had that thing called replay." So he goes back in there, 8, 9.
Is that the one of the photograph of Ali standing up?
Yeah.
What an iconic photograph.
Yeah.
So Mike Tyson, I picked Mike Tyson tonight in this fight, and I can't wait to watch him box again. Do I have time for anything right now?
Yeah.
So we watched Mike Tyson fight, right? And what you said, not on television, right? Fights used to be on television all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
Friday night, Gillette.
George Foreman, Ron Lyle fight was like a movie fight. One got knocked down, came up again, knocked the other one down. It was almost like it wasn't real. It was real. And then the Ali Frazier fight in 1971, on my birthday, by the way, March 8th, 1971. Okay. And there was a special in New York. I don't think it was around the country. And the special was called The Champ's Gonna Win It, right? And they did all this stuff. And finally, they talked to this cab driver at the end of the show. And they say, who do you think's going to win? And the guy goes, the champ's going to win it. And we were like, we didn't know who he meant because Ali didn't lose the title.
Right.
It was stripped when he wouldn't.
When he wouldn't go in the military.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So, I don't know. It was just kind of legend and stuff. And Frazier actually won that fight.
May I add one more thing real quick?
Yeah.
My dad.
Can he add one thing?
Yeah. My dad would watch Friday Night Gillette boxing. And then one day I realized he wasn't in there watching. He was out in his car listening to it on the radio, smoking his pipe out in the car. Mm-hmm. And I asked him later, I said, why didn't you say? He said, well, there are a lot more punches thrown on radio than in TV.
That's funny. And of course, maybe the most famous, not that this has anything to do with tonight's fight, Howard Cosell.
Oh, I loved it.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
Cosell was great.
And Foreman's in his corner looking as poised as can be.
That's good.
That's all the time we
God
have.
bless you guys.
You too.
God bless you,
Mr. Connor's Neighborhood. on the Vic Porcelli Show.
I'm so sorry. Larry Connor's USA, 6 to 8 o'clock tonight. Commentary at 7:30, 12:03, and 3:30.
You're sounding like Howard Cosell doing that.
Larry Connors. He's old. He's listless. He's not the champ. No, he is all that stuff. Tonight, 6 to 8 o'clock.
I love it.
Larry Connors, USA. You know, I should really get into Howard Cosell by saying, this is Howard Cosell speaking of sports. That was a radio, like it was commentary like yours.
You've got a new comment piece we can put on for promo.
Yeah.
Larry Connors, USA. I'm going to do Howard Cosell all day. Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft coming up next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at News Talk STL.
Whoosh.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
In my life, I had a guardian angel by my side. I called her Mamaw. She loved the Lord, ladies and gentlemen. She was a woman of very deep Christian faith. But she also loved the F word.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Royal Bank CEO Mitch Baden, his predictions for Trump's economy, and John Daniel Davis will explain why Matt Gaetz as AG makes sense.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Bring your whole family to the Moolah Festival of Trees this year and browse through a winter wonderland filled with over 40 exquisitely decorated Christmas trees and all the gifts. Each tree has a minimum value of $500, some worth up to $10,000. You can take a chance to win one of the beautifully decorated trees and all the gifts that go with it for as little as $1. While you're there, don't miss Kris Kringle Cafe with sweet treats and beverages available for purchase. Have your photo taken with Santa. Bring the whole family to the Moolah Shrine, November 23rd to the 30th.
You can start seeing some action on the housing market. Will it benefit you? Should you do something one way or the other? May I suggest you talk to Jen and Rodney Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, licensed in Missouri and Illinois, selling 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. With the Fed once again cutting interest rates, there is going to be a lot of action. And where should you be when the action starts unfolding? Jen and Rodney, as a wife and husband, they can look at that and your family and what your needs and your desires are and help you reach a conclusion. It begins by you calling them. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. Jen and Rodney Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Talk to them. Get some solid expert answers now.
Mr. Connor's Neighborhood, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
The big lie is a lot of bullshit. That's what it is.
Now look here. I don't like that kind of talk. Now just stop it. It upsets me.
On News Talk STL.
Good morning and welcome to Friday. Susie Moore coming up at 10:05. You know, she's the deputy managing editor
It's
at Red State.
Friday.
Michael Proctor is going to come in and talk to us a little bit today at 10:25, and the wheel of audio clips at 10:41. Okay, now this is a weird one here, so let's see how we can handle this. Let's say good morning to Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, good morning, and a belated, actual, real, not Nick Schroer happy birthday to Ken.
Thank you, Mr.
Sorry
Secretary.
I missed that.
Thank you.
I don't quite remember my birthday greeting from the Secretary of State.
I thought when you got to your age, you didn't want to be with.
Oh my God! All right, you have to answer the question everybody's answering here in the studio. How many states were there when you were born?
I'm young. There were 50.
And who was president when you were born?
Let me see. I would have been. There was was Ford, I guess. Let me see. Reagan was in 80, 76 was Carter, so I guess it was Ford.
Okay. Mine was Eisenhower, so everybody makes fun
Oh,
of how
okay.
old I am. Yeah.
Is that the first Eisenhower? I mean, no.
Whatever. All right. So listen, why I don't understand why you don't run some sort of, seminar, come down to the Marriott Marquis today and watch Jay Ashcroft teach other stupid ass secretaries of state how to run an election. Carrie Lake, her race still isn't called.
Yeah, they're still counting.
Well, I mean, it's not that they don't know how to run elections; they don't want to do it well.
There you go.
And it's twofold. It's not just the Secretary of State, although that's part of the problem there, but it's also the legislature. I mean, every Secretary of State is constrained or supposedly constrained. I mean, you got to ignore what they're doing in Pennsylvania with some of the counties wanting to count ballots that the court said they're not allowed to count. But good secretaries are constrained by what the law is. And sometimes you have legislators that actually set up the process such that it's going to make it difficult to run a good election. So it's really both of them, unfortunately.
So what would you do if you were in the situation of, with the Pennsylvania Senate seat with McCormick, he flipped the seat and he won't give it up. The guy who lost won't give it up. And now they're going to count the votes again. Are we supposed to trust them to count the votes? How would you run this recount of votes for Senate in Pennsylvania?
Well, the first thing you got to do is you got to have absolute transparency. You've got to make sure that you've got watchers in from every potential interest group you can. You've got to make sure the Democrats have one. You've got to make sure the Republicans have one. You've got to make sure that both of the candidates have one. I would be saying we're going to live stream this stuff on video, and we're going to make sure that we're doing it from like 8 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night, so that anybody who wants can watch that and people can download the stream and record it. We're not going to be doing stuff at 3 o'clock in the morning. We're not going to be pushing people away. We're going to be totally transparent about the process. That's what you have to do, because when there's transparency, if someone tries to pull a fast one and you have tens of thousands of people watching online and you know that people can go through the videos later, that'll stop them.
And I know that the left is listening to you right now saying, we can't be transparent. Then you'd find out we were cheating. Right. I mean, right? If they had truth serum, that's what they'd say. But you said something in there I want to expand on here a little bit. Live stream the count. So this way, there's no better what do they say about sunlight is the best disinfectant, right?
Yes. Yep. Yes.
Live stream the count so we could see it live. They would never do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, in some respects, I prefer having people there representing the parties, but you just can't have enough people there. And when you live stream it, you create the record. So not only is it maybe if they have to be worried about you catching it right then, but they know that for days, weeks, months, years, people are going to be poring over those videotapes looking for indicia of inappropriate behavior. That'll hold them accountable.
Yeah. Now, let me ask a question somebody may be asking in their head right now. When they say recount, is it a physical recount of each paper, or is it something electronic?
It differs by state.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, they will be counting them differently than they did before. So it's not just going to some black box and hitting a button and saying, yep, it gave us the same number as they did last time. But I don't know what what Pennsylvania requires, whether or not they will be doing a hand recount or not. I'm a firm believer in any time you're counting ballots, you should do both. You should have a mechanical count and you should have a hand count so that both of those numbers can be used to check each other. And if those numbers are different between the two of them, you know you got a problem. But if you just have one count, you can think it's good, but how do you check yourself?
Well, Mr. Secretary, isn't it true that there's a difference between a forensic audit of the election and just a simple
That's a great question.
audit?
Recount.
You know, I don't know that there's really an agreed upon definition of what a forensic audit is with regard to elections. So it can mean very different things. when I think of an audit versus a forensic audit or an audit, I think about just different levels of audits that you can have. And I've talked to our legislature about this. Texas has really done some stuff with this. Kind of one level of audit is just doing a hand count of a certain number of ballots. That just tells you if you got the right count, if you correctly counted the ballots. But that doesn't tell you necessarily if there was a problem in the process for voting. That doesn't necessarily tell you if you really made sure that only registered voters were able to vote. That doesn't tell you if you made sure that you had good chain of custody of the ballots. That just says, are the number of the ballots that I have correctly reported? It doesn't tell you anything about whether or not there were illegal ballots cast, whether there were phantom voters. I think I would say a, quote, forensic audit would be a deeper down audit that doesn't just do a recount, but it looks at the processes and procedures. Were they followed? Were they designed? Were there holes in them so someone could have fraudulently acted potentially?
Compares registered voters with the number of votes, and they go a lot deeper into the numbers, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I don't know if you and I talked about this, Mr. Secretary, but I brought up this idea on election night, and I brought it up a couple of days later. And people seem to think it's a good idea if it's doable. So here in Missouri, when you have your ballot, you fill out your ballot by hand, and then you take that ballot and then you stick it in that machine, right? And the machine sucks it up. Why can't we, when we do that, get a receipt that shows exactly how you voted so you can say, hey, wait a minute, I didn't vote for this. Why did it record this way? Is that possible, or is that just too much?
Well, the problem is, how would you prove the receipt was validly generated?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why people want to have at least a hand count component, because even if you're saying, well, I put my ballot in and it printed out a receipt for me, how do you know that the receipt it printed out matched what it actually internally tabulated?
Jeez.
Yeah, that's true.
They know how to cheat on every level. I swear to God.
So that's why you really need to have multiple ways that you count the ballots. The machines, when done correctly, can be very fast and can be extremely accurate. But there's the concern about whether or not they're fully trustworthy. I got to tell you, hand counts aren't fully trustworthy either. We've had problems historically in Missouri, in the Boot Heel, and in St. Louis, and in Kansas City, especially with the Pendergast machine with hand counting. That's why you need to count multiple ways, so that even if someone can hack the equipment, they would not only have to hack the equipment to get a certain number, but they'd have to somehow hack the hand count to make sure that it came up with the exact same number. Because if they don't match, you got a problem. You go to DEFCON 5 and you say, okay, let's tear into this and see what's going on.
Boy, oh boy, it's a process. All right. Sorry, we used too much time on that. So Donald Trump is a great big misogynist who picked the very first ever female chief of staff. How about that?
Did you mean soon to be President Donald J. Grover Cleveland Trump?
Wow. I love that.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
He is awesome. I mean, look, if you look at his appointments overall, I don't know all the individuals, but overall, I think they're fantastic. I love having a defense secretary with the requisite experience, but also isn't one of these war hawks that's happy to send your kids to die for no reason. I love who he's appointing. Generally speaking, I think it's awesome. I think he is not going to just sit there and be president. He's going to make a difference. He's going to be consequential. It's what conservatives, libertarians, and Republicans have wanted for decades.
I say that's the honest to God truth right there. You know, the one thing I forgot to say about the receipt thing in the voting machine, if that were to happen, I would like it to be named after me. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And are there any royalties involved?
No, maybe. I don't know. I'll split them with you. Oh, now we're getting into political corruption here. That's not good. All right. So, Susan Wiles, what do you think about the Matt Gaetz controversy? You think he'd make a good AG? You think he'll get confirmed?
You know, I've met Matt Gaetz once. I know people that think he is the spawn of Satan. I know people that think that he's a great guy and the person that we ought to have for the office. I just don't know enough. I look, the president was duly elected by a landslide of Americans. He's nominated him. The Senate will look at him, and we'll see what happens. But I mean, the difference is night and day between who the president is appointing now versus when he came in 2016. And I couldn't be more thrilled.
You know what, Vic and Mr. Secretary, I look at it like this. When I see the other side, the left, losing their minds about certain candidates, that's what I'm thinking.
Makes me feel better.
I start to feel better. That's my first process. And then I look at it this way also. Donald Trump has a mandate. He picked these people. We'll find out whether they're going to work or not. And if they don't work, Donald Trump's going to step in and say, see ya, you're fired.
Yep. So something happened this morning I want to relay to you, Mr. Secretary. Kenny and I watch The Enemy. We watch the Today Show every morning just to see what they're up to. And that Peter Alexander, the same guy who said Donald Trump said that Liz Cheney should be shot, said that Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump's pick for Secretary of Defense, was accused of sexual assault. And I've looked and I can't find that story anywhere.
He said that. Not only that, he said, well, we don't know what it was, and we don't know who said it, and we don't know really when it happened, but
so why
it's
report
there.
It?
Yeah,
why
exactly.
What do you think, Mr. Secretary?
I think anonymous, fully devoid of fact allegations should carry no weight. Anybody can be accused of anything. And obviously, we want to be careful of the quality of individual that we nominate and put in high office. But I think this is ridiculous to let someone be attacked with anonymous allegations with no underpinning like that.
I'm waiting for Blasey Ford to come out and testify against them.
Well, remember, she didn't remember anything.
That's true. You're right.
He's the one that did what I can't remember, when I can't remember, where I can't remember, and that I told no one about, but I'm certain it was him.
Unbelievable. I there have been some accusations against me, and unfortunately they were true, that I am devastatingly handsome.
Yeah.
And I think those allegations are true.
You'll live with it.
I don't remember any supporting evidence for that one either.
Hey, I want a recount. I want a double recount.
It's Friday.
Mr. Secretary,
Friday.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Happy birthday. And we'll talk next week. Boy, oh boy. You know what? I think it's kind of cool that the Secretary of State in Missouri listens to our show.
I love it.
And comes up with Donald John Grover Cleveland Trump.
I love it, man.
And happy belated birthday to Ken.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Are we done now with your birthday?
Yeah, it's Friday. My daughter, it's never a birthday. It's a birth week.
Oh,
yeah. It's always
fun.
Abby's birth week.
That's fun for your family, but I don't want to hear about it all week.
No, I know you don't.
Okay. Yesterday, this is what I love, though. That people know that Ken is the dude. He's what makes this show run. He's the guy who is responsible for all the great stuff that you hear and see.
It's a team effort
on the
between
show.
you and I, but I get it.
But if you weren't here, it would be like, okay, hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
I don't think so.
Susie Moore, Deputy Managing Editor at Red State, who never listens to this show. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, she's always a part of it.
She is next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
Whoosh.
Tony Colombo here for the cleaning pros at Zero Res, the team we trust with keeping our home clean and healthy. And the folks at Zero Res know how important it is to you to have a clean, healthy home this holiday season. And that's why they have this great offer for you right now. Book a cleaning with Zero Res in November and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $75 off an air duct cleaning. Again, just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Newstalk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the Sabos radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio 3 times every week yet on Newstalk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
I'm Rich Thomason. In announcing one of his latest nominees, President-elect Trump let the cat out of the bag during last night's gala at Mar-a-Lago.
I won't tell you his name. Might be something like Burgum. He's from North Dakota. He's going to be announced for a very big position.
Mr. Trump nominating North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum for Interior Secretary. Other nominations include RFK Jr. for Health and Human Services Secretary and former Georgia Congressman Doug Collins for VA Secretary. Senator Tom Cotton giving his full-throated endorsement to the nomination of Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary.
He's a highly decorated veteran. I think he deployed 3 times to the Middle East.
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken, plus a time in Guantanamo Bay. He spent a lot of time in the defense policy world.
The Arkansas Republican on the Salem Radio Network's Hugh Hewitt Show. Opening statements today in a non-jury trial in Georgia. It's a case that's fueled debate over illegal immigration and border security, or the lack thereof.
A trial is expected to get underway today in Athens, Georgia, for Jose Ibarra, who was accused in the February of nursing student Laken Hope Riley. Her body was found on the University of Georgia campus in Athens. Prosecutors allege that Ibarra hit the 22-year-old woman in the head, suffocated her, and intended to sexually assault her. Ibarra, who is Venezuelan, entered the U.S. illegally in 2022, but was allowed to stay to pursue his immigration case. Republicans, including President-elect Donald Trump, blame the Biden administration's border policies for Riley's death. I'm Donna Warder.
Containment, roughly 75% in New Jersey for the Jennings Creek wildfire. It's burning along the New York-New Jersey border. Stocks deep in the red this morning on Wall Street. The Dow's down 330 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Our nation's problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight, which is why we must prepare now for a financial collapse that will affect the entire economy. The good news is there's an easy way to do that. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe everyone should consider a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group to diversify their IRA or 401k. Gold is a proven bedrock in almost every kind of economy. To learn more, get a free info kit from my trusted friends at Birch Gold by texting the word PREPARE to 989898. Don't wait until decades of government irresponsibility comes crashing down on your retirement. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group now. Text PREPARE to the number 989898. That's PREPARE to 989898.
A list of
this hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at SerenityLTC.com. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Patchy but thick morning fog dissipates mid-morning, and then the rest of our Friday looks great. Mainly sunny skies, a mild high near 60 this afternoon. We'll have to watch for fog again overnight tonight and early Saturday with clear skies and a chilly low near 42. How about a weekend warm-up? Yeah, partly cloudy Saturday, a high of 63. More clouds on Sunday, but warmer, up to 68 Sunday afternoon. Let's be ready for some rain on Monday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me? Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, hour number 2, final hour of the working week. I like that. I like the sound of that. Michael Proctor coming in at 10:25 today. Let's see what he's been up to. We've had him on as a guest of Larry Connors during Mr. Connors' Neighborhood before.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
And the wheel of audio clips at 10:41. Smoothie Q, please, so we can talk to Deputy Managing Editor of RedState.com. But you know what? Before we do that, it gives me a second to say that our podcast that Ken and I do called Porcelli's Deli Uncensored. We talked to Susie Moore at length about my cousin Vinny because she's, an attorney.
She's a lawyer.
She's a lawyer. And also, she's a big fan of the movie. And we left that up an extra week because Monday we were out and it was hard to get in here and do it. So Susie Moore gets 2 weeks of uncensored filth.
Oh, Susie Q, baby, I love you. Susie Q.
I'm the boss. How about
I
that?
should have listened to Susie Moore from the beginning.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right about that.
I was absolutely right about something. Good morning, Smoozy Q.
Good morning. I think you're absolutely right about that. You should have listened to me.
Right. That's why I put it there, Susie.
No. So I'm sure you just heard me say your podcast with us is up for an extra week about my cousin Vinny.
I did, and I love it. That was so fun.
It really was fun. We're getting a lot of great comments about it too. Okay. So I guess let's start around the world. The Israeli attack that took out the Iranian nuclear research facility. That is a huge development, isn't it?
It is. Axios had an exclusive report this morning that we've followed up on here at Red State, and it turns out that in late October, when they launched those airstrikes in retaliation against Iran, one of the sites that they damaged and destroyed was a supposedly secret nuclear facility that Iran was using for nefarious purposes. So that was a big bonus. And not only does it kind of lay bare the fact that Iran is continuing on with the activity it's not supposed to be, but it also is a good, it's a win for the Israelis because, that's damaging Iran's nuclear program.
Maybe you can help sort this out for me, Susie. When Donald Trump was president, we were pretty certain that Iran wouldn't get a nuclear bomb because Trump took away all the money. And then once Biden got in, it was like, well, we've redone our deal with Iran. Like that was a good thing. Isn't that how they made it feel? Like Trump was stupid making them not have a bomb?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a continuation. The Biden administration posture towards Iran was a continuation of Obama's, and it was oddly and uncomfortably friendly with a regime that has basically been one of the key players in so much of the terrorism and the strife that we've seen coming out of the Middle East. And yet, for whatever reasons that we do not quite fully understand, both Obama and Biden felt, I mean, the surface level sell on it was, look, we want to work with them and build a cooperative relationship, and we'll be better able to control things that way. But really what it amounted to, or seemed to amount to, was, throwing money at them and allowing them to continue to develop their nuclear capabilities and continue to be a threat to the rest of the Middle East.
And Susie, that's that whole attitude that not only the Biden administration, but Obama had the same problem. Is that, well, we'll be nice to them. Hillary Clinton did the same thing with the Russians. We'll be nice to them, give them a reset button and all that good stuff, and then they'll coalesce, right? They never do. That's not even a good plan.
Yeah, it's the appeasement attitude, and why there is, there's two possibilities. It's either complete inability to read and understand other countries and cultures, or it's because there's money and things being exchanged under the table. I mean, it's ignorance or complete malice and corruption.
So the left, they want to be, like you just said, they're trying to be friends with Iran, and we can't even be friends with people in this country because they've made Donald Trump the enemy and Iran friends. There's something just wrong about that.
Right. So instead of having grandma to Thanksgiving dinner, it's the Ayatollahs, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly right. All right, let's move on, because sometimes the funniest quotes, the best quotes, come from the least likely source, right? Charles Barkley was asked about the election and why the Democrats lost. He said, "You guys lost because y'all stupid."
He does not mince words.
He doesn't.
You gotta love him. I mean, and it's not an ideological thing with him, as he noted. He voted for Kamala. I think he's a registered independent, but he tends to vote Democrat. But he's also not somebody who just, blow smoke about it all. He's giving his honest, his frank appraisal of what went wrong, and he's not wrong.
Y'all stupid. When he was talking about Caitlin Clark, he was like, y'all petty. Talking about.
Yeah.
All right. So John Thune's going to be the majority leader, Senate majority leader. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Or, why couldn't they just pick Rick Scott? I don't understand.
That's a wait and see thing.
Yeah.
He obviously there are concerns from people that are more of the MAGA wing of the party that he's going to be too establishment and too in the thrall of Mitch McConnell, that sort of thing. So far, what he's been saying has been encouraging. And I don't just mean, Mitch McConnell, for all the knocks against him, and I have many criticisms of him, he had a very strong hand in the Senate for a number of years.
18.
But when he was speaking, he didn't speak to things the way that Thune did. Thune yesterday on the floor of the Senate made it very clear. And if he follows through, I'm with it. He made it clear that they were going to do things differently.
Yeah.
That they were going to push very, very quickly to get Trump's appointees through, that they were going to open up the amendment process, that they were going to improve upon the communication so that members, didn't feel like they were trapped in this sort of like weird committee intrigue and didn't have a say in the process. That's very different from how Mitch McConnell ran things.
Yeah, that's true.
So if he follows through, then I'm good with it. And I have to say, I'm not a fan of Rick Scott. I've never been a fan of Rick Scott. I obviously prefer him to Mitch McConnell or Chuck Schumer, but he didn't do a good job at the NRSC. And I actually feel like in the long run, Thune may have been the better option. And keep in mind, Trump reportedly secretly was okay with that.
I'm sorry, you cut out just when you said who was secretly okay with it.
Trump.
Yeah.
Trump the reports are now that he was actually okay with the Thune pick.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way on that, Susie. Hey, Vic and Susie, what do you guys think about what Tim Scott was doing with I can't remember the guy's name, but he's using him, and he's a former operative, basically from the left. What's it, Mara? Susie, you know anything?
No, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, I'll look it up. I'll get some more information, and I'll spout out about it.
All right, so everybody's talking about Matt Gaetz and his nomination for Attorney General. Two-part question there for you, Susie. Number one, do you think he was a good pick and would be a good AG? And two, is he going to get through all the confirmation hearings that they're probably going to tear him to pieces on?
So if I'm being perfectly honest about the pick, I'm ambivalent about it. On the one hand, I have significant reservations, not only because of the baggage that is coming with him, but also because I think that he is a bit of a bomb thrower, and he has I don't know. I mean, I haven't always been a fan of his methodology. Now, that said, there's part of me that has been a fan of his methodology, particularly the way he's handled, for instance, Merrick Garland in the committee hearings, that sort of thing. So I really am of two minds on it. Whether he makes it through, I don't know. I know that there's, whether the ethics committee report gets leaked, which it probably will, or not, he's going to be subject to some very, very tough scrutiny because of the allegations that were made against him. And there's two camps on that. There are some who are convinced that even though he wasn't ever criminally charged, there were some bad dealings on his part, and he's rightly being investigated. And there are some who believe that it was all a smokescreen brought on by Kevin McCarthy. Because of the bad blood between them. I don't know the truth of that. I honestly don't. It's going to be interesting to watch how that unfolds. But Thune was very clear, too, that he's not, recess appointments are on the table here. And that this could be a situation where we get our AG via recess appointment. And I know it's going to tick a lot of people off.
And he is already, because this is what confuses me. Because and maybe he's up to something, and maybe what he's up to is great, but he already resigned from the House of Representatives. So if he does not get confirmed, he's got nothing to do but fish or be named a senator for some of these senators that have moved on to the administration.
So there's a couple of aspects to that, these aren't mutually exclusive. He could have just gone ahead and resigned to remove the ethics committee's jurisdiction over the investigation. He could have, what the stated reason is, because the sooner he resigns, the sooner the state of Florida can conduct a special election that they will need to replace him, which would leave the House, the GOP in the House 1 seat down. But because he resigned when he did, they'll be able to hold the special election the first week of January and get somebody in there quickly. The other thing, too, is, yes, now that Rubio is going to be Secretary of State, presumably he will be confirmed, then Ron DeSantis gets to appoint his replacement in the Senate. That could be Matt Gaetz. Or Matt Gaetz could have his eye set on the Florida governor's race in 2026.
Okay, so something just dawned on me that for all of these confirmation, there's going to be hearings, Senate hearings, and it just dawned on me that the Democrats are going to lead those because they're still in power, and that the chair people will be Democrats.
No, because those hearings don't take place until Donald Trump becomes inaugurated and
Fantastic.
the nomination.
That's good news.
Now, what they will do ahead of that. Now, keep in mind, the new Congress is sworn in January 3rd. So as of January 3rd, the Republicans are in charge. But ahead of his inauguration, they'll do the committee hearings. In other words, the smaller hearings on the nominees. Tom Cotton has already said, we're going to go ahead and get these guys all ready to go so that when he's inaugurated and formally submits the nominations, then we can take them up on the floor very quickly.
Okay. Well, I guess that's fair. Is that fair? You happy with that? Not fair, but you happy with that?
Oh, yeah. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Okay. So this morning, I was watching the Today Show, and Peter Alexander, who I will remind you was the guy who said that Trump said that Liz Cheney should be shot, said that Pete Hegseth has a sexual assault charge in his past.
That's a lie.
All right. Beautiful. Tell me all about it.
In 2017, he was investigated out in California for an allegation of sexual assault, but no charge was ever brought. That was, I think it was brought up either by Hegseth or to him with the Trump people. And the description that was given of it was a consensual situation, and it ended up in a he said, she said disagreement. The police investigated it. They never brought charges against him. So he has not been charged with that.
They're so dishonest. I swear to God. I mean, do we realize that we're allowing the press to literally say whatever they want? That's why we started joking during the campaign. Did you know that Kamala Harris was born with a crocodile head? That's a fact. That's the truth. I mean, you really could say anything, and people can't dispute you because, yes, okay, First Amendment, I get it, freedom of the press, but my God, at least put some sort of moral, ethical thing in there where you guys could try to tell the truth.
Yeah, I mean, there is still the possibility of going after an outlet for defamation, and even as a public figure, as Pete Hegseth is, he may be able to get something somewhere with it. He may decide it's not worth his trouble, but it is maddening when they do things like that. It's one thing when they're shading the truth and painting somebody in a bad light. It's another when they're just flat out lying.
And that's a flat out lie.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Susie. Okay. Tim Scott, it says fresh off of being elected NRSC chair, hires former Mike Pence campaign manager and never Trumper Stephen DeMora as executive director.
I don't know anything about DeMora. I really don't. Tim Scott, I think, is a good guy. Is this a bad decision? I don't know. I don't have enough information to evaluate it.
Okay.
All right. So there's one story that I know Red State will be on top of, because you guys are great. And you guys are great. By the way, we talked to Ward Clark. Was that on Monday?
Yeah.
And he it's kind of cool. And if you could thank him for us, he reached out to us.
Yeah.
And wanted to talk to us.
And he said, hey, you guys might be interested in the story I just wrote. And I'm like, wow, we are. Yeah.
So
we love that.
But
that's a two-way street. My folks at Red State love talking to you guys too. So
is that right? Fantastic.
Thank you.
The story I know you guys will cover as soon as it happens, and I can't believe it hasn't happened. But when Rob Reiner sets himself on fire, you guys will report on that, right?
Certainly, we would do that if he were to do so. And I hope he doesn't, because that's just such a drastic and horrific thing to do. But certainly, if that were to happen, we would. And in fact, if he just up and leaves the country, we might report on that too.
So another one. Don't forget to report on when Cher blows her brains out. She said she would do that.
And I am
that's
literally,
tragic.
that's what she said, quote unquote, I am literally going to blow my brains out if Trump's elected.
There are plenty.
That's tragic.
Somebody,
That's tragic.
somebody should
No
make
one
a
should be that undone.
somebody should make a meme of a bunch of people running with guns and saying, share supporters, help her out with blowing her brains out. But oh my God, what was I going to say? Say something so I can remember what I was
Yeah,
gonna
I was
say.
just going to say that I'm looking at a video right now. We were talking about radical views of Trump. This woman is on a high power line hanging from her right now because of Trump's election.
What was that
Yeah,
about?
that happened yesterday. Well, the only thing I saw about it was a very brief headline, and it just seemed that she was having some sort of psychotic break. But there were people, and whether that was election related or not, I don't know. But there are people all over the country that are having very difficult time with this, and that is, I lay solely and fully at the feet of the dishonest media that has spun them up into such a tizzy that, I mean, they've literally got even people that aren't necessarily mentally unstable, but they're genuinely fearful, and it's ridiculous. It makes me so mad.
And you know what it's sort of like, you guys? It's like your parents for like 8-10 years have been telling you something, and you find out at one moment that all of it's a lie, and that you've been deceived for all this time, and that's what's going on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not making excuses for them. I'm just saying.
No, but I mean, I'm hopeful there are people that are realizing how much they've been deceived, as opposed to just going with it and continuing to believe that they're literally going to be like rounded up and thrown into camps.
And the mass media, the left-wing media and Hollywood, they're all getting off of X, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they have to make a big deal about it, right? They got to make a big announcement. So I thought the quote of the week this week was, people in Hollywood need to know this isn't an airport. You don't have to announce your departure.
Right.
Exactly right. I know.
All right. Susie
The
Moore.
drama.
What'd you say?
Oh, I said the drama.
The drama.
Yeah.
All right. Susie Moore, Deputy Managing Editor at redstate.com. Let us know if Rob Reiner sets himself on fire, okay?
I sure will.
Okay. Smoozy Q on Twitter.
Bye, Susie.
And does a great job over there at Red State. How about that? People say they like being on the show.
I know, it's cool.
It would be great if we had some Chuck Berry guitar that would
Wouldn't it
kick
be
in.
nice? Oh.
Just to,
Oh! How'd that happen, Vic?
ELO doing Rollover Beethoven. Are you kidding me? You know that other version that we play that's not Chuck and not this?
Yeah.
That guy. I was scrolling through my Facebook yesterday because I like to see what people say about my dogs. I'm so stupid.
Well, sure.
And I have a video of this guy that we play once in a while. And this is so stupid, Ken. When I play the intro, then stop it and play the intro again.
Yeah.
And then listen to the whole song.
Sure.
I don't know. I just love it. All right. When we get back, Michael Proctor, like Doctor.
Yeah, that's right.
Is going to join us. Chat box 2, promise. On 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home. Woo!
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Biden's being Biden's being an extremist.
Oh, son of a gun. You thought I was going to say son of a bitch, didn't you?
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
The language. Roll over Beethoven. Tell Tchaikovsky the news. Are you kidding me? I mean, besides the guitar, his being a lyricist was one of the best ever.
Oh, yeah.
Roll over Beethoven. Tell Tchaikovsky the news.
Right.
Love it.
I love the drum work at that moment right there.
You know what? This version, the ELO version of Roll Over Beethoven is fantastic. And I bought these tickets. It's not like I got them for free. But we saw ELO at the Meadowlands Arena shortly after John Lennon was shot and killed. And they did this, and it was unbelievable. They did Across the Universe as tribute to John and everything. It was really kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about you and your roof. Enough about me. Let's talk about Kathy Connor and Rob Connor because they know what they're doing. They've been doing it for 31 years. And when we talk about people who have done what they're doing for so long, there's a reason why, right? Because Goober and his little Goober roofing company is not going to be there in 2 weeks, much less 31 years from now. And the Connors are, because of things like honest estimates, They're not going to say, oh, my God, your roof is gone. There's no roof on top of your head. Goober will say, you need a whole new roof. Well, you know what? You might not. So you get the honest estimate from the Connors. Quality work, absolutely. And the great part about it is their customer service and follow-up after what they do will blow you away. How many companies do you get called from to say, hey, how'd we do with it? Because some people don't want to hear the answer to that question. And the Connors always want to hear the answer to that question because it doesn't do them any good to get fake reviews. And if you want to see the reviews, Google reviews, Yelp reviews, go look them up and you'll see. Next week, we'll read some of them just to refresh your memory. Connor Roofing. They're at ConnorRoofing.com, CONNER Roofing.com.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
I'm going to grab a bite to eat. You want like a sandwich or something?
What kind of sandwich ain't too fattening?
I have a sandwich.
On News Talk STL.
I asked my wife that same question last night. What kind of sandwich ain't too fattening? A half a sandwich.
I have a sandwich.
I'm sorry. Can I do one more story here, Ken?
Yeah.
Sorry. You're playing Late in the Evening by Paul Simon.
Right.
And I just stumbled across a video of, it was Joe DiMaggio Day at Yankee Stadium in 1999. And Paul Simon stood in center field and sang Mrs. Robinson for the crowd. And when he got to the point where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio, the place went wild. It went wild. Okay, so my dad and my Uncle Jimmy used to take me and my cousin Richie to Yankee games all the time, and a lot of times on Old Timers Day. So I want you to understand the significance of this. I got to see Joe DiMaggio run onto the field at Yankee Stadium in his uniform, wearing number 5, being announced by Bob Shepard during the Old Timers Day festivities.
Yeah, you're the Forrest Gump of music and sports, I believe.
He's calling me an idiot. That's what he's calling me.
Oh, really? No, I'm saying you're in the right place at the right time.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Joe DiMaggio. Number 5. Michael Proctor, look who just wandered into the studio. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
No, we haven't seen you in a couple of weeks.
Right.
Clearly since the election.
Right.
That was a pretty good night.
Oh, yeah. We kicked their butt. Pretty good. Yeah.
Presidency, Senate, House, all good news, right?
Right. Great news. Should have beat them worse even, but we did okay.
So let me get your take on this, Michael, because you follow things pretty closely. So we were here doing election coverage in this room.
Right.
Till about 1:30 in the morning. The race has been called. We not only played the race, but we played Trump's comments after the election. I got home about 2, turned on the TV to MSNBC just to see what they were doing, and they still hadn't called the election. Isn't that against some sort of rule or law or something that they have to be news? It wasn't even news anymore.
Right. They're not news. But I was up late. I was up till 3 in the morning because I watched Trump come in.
Yeah.
With all the people and everything.
Pretty
He gives
exciting.
his speech, but and Kamala, she doesn't even show.
Where is she now?
I mean, that is really rude.
Oh, she's completely rude.
I mean,
she had some sort of like a third tier associate underneath her come out and say, "Everybody, just go home. We'll regroup tomorrow and tell you what's going to happen."
That guy was actually the co-chair of the DNC.
Was he really?
Wasn't that far down?
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
she was probably drunk.
Or
probably,
stoned.
or stoned.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah.
I think she will just slip into obscurity, because my wife and I were trying to figure out who was Jimmy Carter's vice president. And we couldn't remember,
Oh, wow.
So 30 years from now, who was
Who ran?
Who was Joe Biden's vice president? So I just think it's good for the country. I think it's good for business.
Yeah.
Like yours.
Oh, right.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
business is already picked up.
Is that right?
Right. Like the next day.
Wow.
Two or three calls.
Being a businessman as you are, do you think that people they will buy things based on their emotions, like hearing that Donald Trump is going to be the next president, knowing, of course, that it's going to happen, but I'm saying the emotional end of it, just knowing that, going the next day and saying, you know what, we're going to go ahead and do this.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Things picked up. They did last time in 2016. I remember when he got elected.
Wow.
Things turned around like the next day after the election.
Those Trump tax cuts were set to sunset.
Oh, yeah.
In January.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're not now, obviously.
Right.
The tax cuts are still there because that night when he won the election, the futures for the Dow were up 1,500 points.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, okay. I think that's definitely the guy to have in the presidency for everybody. Because let me tell you, you know why people are calling now all of a sudden? They know they're going to have a little bit more money to spend on drapes and stuff like that.
Right. They're very hopeful.
Yeah.
Optimistic. There's a lot of optimism.
And just more money. And, there's lots of, they talk about the gig economy and he wants no tax on tips.
Yep.
I think that was huge.
Oh, that's major.
And people, he's only going to help his billionaire friends. How many billionaire friends, rely on tips, right?
How many billionaire friends can you have, even if you're a billionaire?
Right. It's funny. When he and Elon are together, I think he's humbled a little bit because all of a sudden he's not the richest guy in the room anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. My wife and my daughter, both my daughters, it put them through school to work at a restaurant.
Uh-huh.
And I told them about the tips thing. And when you're that young, you're kind of silly anyway, and you're thinking very progressively. Like, yeah, but Trump's doing this. I said, no, everything's wrong. You're saying right now. But what is right is that he is actually going to not tax your tips. Those tips you get every week that you love so much. He's not going to tax those. And like, oh, really?
Well, just think of the waitresses and waiters in high-end restaurants or like Italian restaurants and that.
The best
they
ones.
have to make a living. They're making 50, 60 grand a year in tips.
Yeah.
That's a lot of taxes.
Yes,
That's
sir.
a lot of taxes. That's a great deal for these people.
Yep.
And the first thing we think of when we think of no taxes on tips is our wait staff, right? Waiters and waitresses. But there's so many other gig economy workers, Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. And,
yes.
People who work for Instacart or Shipt, right? Because now
pump a lot of money into the economy.
Yeah. And here's why. Because people know, besides the no tax on tips, which is huge, but also people know that with a better economy, because right now, not a lot of people are using Shipt and Instacart because they can't afford, because there's an extra charge from Shipt and Instacart. It gets really expensive. Then you got to tip the guy who brings you the groceries. So I think now people will order more and tip better because, the economy is good, because Donald Trump will be the president.
Right. And we can spend the money much better than the government can.
Yeah. On this show, Michael, we always call Donald Trump Donald John Grover Cleveland Trump.
Of course.
Because, of course.
Well, of course.
Because I was always intrigued, my whole life, I was intrigued by that Grover Cleveland was 22 and 24. And I was like, that's weird, right?
What happened in between?
Yeah. What happened in between there? And so I'm telling you, the news, we're talking about it all the time like they just thought of it. Like it was like nobody in the world knew that Grover Cleveland existed,
Right. On Trump's cap, it says 45-47.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Biden is a dash.
Biden is the dash. That's awesome. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
I always thought that historically, history is going to look very kindly to Donald Trump. And not just as president, but what he did, in between and what he did before, and,
Right.
and what he created before in the MAGA movement and everything.
Right. Once we get our education system back in line.
Yes, sir.
Get rid of the Department of Education.
Done.
and
It's done.
It's done.
It has
Right.
to.
Right.
So, with what you said, Ken, which I had in my head just a second ago.
Make America educated again.
Yes. Let's see.
Oh, do you know what they're saying now?
What?
On the left-wing media? We didn't say he was a Nazi.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't say he was a fascist.
No, right. Don't believe your lying eyes and ears.
Do they think we were saying that? Because I know I've heard the word racist and Nazi and fascist for a lot of time.
Well, if they want to push that, I've got a whole collage I'm going to make on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we'll just play it on Monday. How
That'll
about
be
that?
a nice treat.
Well, as Kamala would say, it was just an election.
It was
Yeah.
all it was.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Just give me another drink. I don't
So
care.
do you think she was drunk?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think she is a drunk.
Come on, Fred. She
Well,
was
I hate
drunk.
So listen,
I hate to be so
I will be
negative there.
No, let us do that. We'll
Okay.
take care of that for you.
Yeah.
I'll be the bartender. His name is Fred. Okay. My name is Fred. And Kamala Harris walks into the bar. Madam Vice President, how are you?
Great, Fred. I've been working post election.
I'm sorry you didn't win the election.
It's just an election. It's just an election,
Do you
Fred.
think
Fred.
you should have won?
Well, of course I should have won, Fred. But you know what? It's a good thing because I'm on a different road now. I'm going to go back. And I'm going to be.
Madam Vice President, what about the $1 billion that you wasted?
That is going to get taken care of on its own. We got friends in low places that are going to take care of it. Okay, Fred. So don't even bring that up anymore. I don't even know why you did.
Okay. I'm sorry. But you're still $20 million down.
Yes, I am, and we're going to be working on that.
Drunken Kamala by Ken Williams, everybody.
Okay. That's funny.
So let's spend some time on you and Proctor. It's going so well, and I love the Proctor sounds like doctor because you need one of those little things.
Right.
We all know.
Right.
But that thing to remember. So business is good.
Yeah, business is picking up. It's good. It was a rough year last year, but business has picked up.
What are people doing? What are people ordering?
Oh, they're ordering lots of draperies, blinds, shades, plantation shutters. I have a wide variety of just beautiful designer fabrics in drapery hardware, in natural woven fabrics, in sunscreens, and designer roller shades. It's just beautiful things. Oh, and top treatments.
Those plantation shutters are so beautiful, and they're just really add so much to a home. And you do all this work yourself, correct? I mean,
right.
It's
And
you.
Right.
That's
Right.
amazing to me.
Right.
You don't see that anymore.
No.
So do you have the kind of shutters that go by themselves, or it's got a banger or something? You push the button on the remote and they'll just open and close.
Oh, yes. Yes. Motorized shades.
Motorized shades.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a lot of call for that?
A
Or?
lot of them.
Yeah.
Lots.
Lots of lazy people like me.
Yeah.
Honey, open
They
the
have a
shades.
banger.
No problem. Give me the banger. We'll take
Right.
care of that.
Yeah, that's the latest.
I
That's
mean,
the
if
latest
you
thing.
don't use that, they'll be crooked and bent, right?
Right.
Especially with my big
Right.
bare hands.
Especially if you have lots of shades in one room. They
Yeah.
don't have to be high up or anything, but it's a big hassle to go around and raise up 9 shades.
Yes, it is.
in the
Thank you.
sunroom. It's a lot easier just to push the button one time.
Well, you see a lot of these homes now that they have these windows that are like 20 feet in the air.
Right.
And they can't get to those. So that's what they use. They use the remote, right?
Right.
And they want to close
And
them.
now they have where you don't have to replace the batteries because they're solar powered.
Oh my God, this is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there's nothing better.
And I
don't
have a
think.
new slogan.
Oh yeah, what is it?
The designer's touch for half as much.
Oh my God, I
That's
love
awesome.
that.
So people can feel like if they call me, they can save some money.
And they will.
Right.
I think there's nothing better than you wake up in the morning and you open those blinds and the sunlight comes in. You know, I think you're starting the day on a little better,
Right.
a better foot.
Right.
Right. Especially when you don't have to get out of bed. Just push
Right.
a button and it goes. All right. Phone number, website. How do we find you?
You go to proctordrapery.com. That's my website. My phone number is 314-644-1819.
And again, Kenny said it.
And
I'll
I'm
say it.
7 days. I operate 7 days a week.
Wow. Because Ken said it, and I want to reemphasize that Michael does everything. Okay, you're going to talk to the owner. How often do you get to call a company and talk to the owner? Not too many times, right?
No, not often.
But with
at
you,
all.
you get some.
not often at all.
And
I'm
I
getting
will-
a new roof put on, and I got to talk to the owner.
Yeah, there you go.
And that was impressive. So I bought a roof from him.
Perfect.
There you go.
All right, Michael. Thanks for dropping in. It's really, really good to see you.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was great, Ken. Great Vic.
You got it.
And the designer's touch for half as much. I like that.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh,
And
great.
I'm gonna post the proctordrapery.com and your phone number up on our screen for the rest of the afternoon.
And Proctor is spelled like doctor.
It
That's
is.
right.
I had no idea.
Right.
I think it's Draperies with an S at the end.
Drapery.
Oh, Drapery. Just one. Okay, perfect.
ProctorDrapery.com.
Perfect.
There you
Michael
go.
Proctor sounds like doctor. And what? Give us that thing again.
What?
Give us that little thing that you just said.
Oh, the designer's touch for half as much.
I love it. You want to do this now, really? Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
That's better.
yeah.
All right. The WEO audio clips coming up next. It's Friday on 101.9 and 94.1. Number one for live and local conservative talk.
It's Friday.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Thank you, President Trump, and you're still my president.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock. Interestingly, Ken, right before our show, a little fun with finance with our friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Chris is the guy who can make finance talk fun. How do you do that? Only Chris knows how to do that.
Right.
It's not a boring show. It's a fun show. You know, Chris will be doing it in his cool little office there that has a little Superman doll. That's one of the Seinfeld references that are at his place. The sign that says these pretzels are making me thirsty. The portrait of Kramer. I swear to God, all in the Serenity Wealth Management office. So drop on in, find out how you save money and also save money to leave for your kids, right? Not the government, not medical or care community, but your children or the charity of your choice. Either one is okay. Whatever you want to do with your money. So get in touch with Chris. He'll help you out. Promise that. He's got a new book out that he makes zero money on. The New Holistic Retirement. Get it for free at SerenityNowTax.com. That's SerenityNowTax.com. Serenity Now with Chris Cooper.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
Serenity Now.
The Allman Report.
Hey, Friday on the All Report. It's a fancy one. The great Doug Giles joining us. It's the All Report on News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman. Weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
SR1 Sundays.
Hey, this is Aaron Dorff from the Missouri Firearms Coalition. Don't miss our new show, Shall Not Be Infringed, this coming and every Sunday as part of SR1 Sundays. Tune in for Stand and Fight with Nick Schroer at 6, Next Gen with Dana Define at 8, and my show, Shall Not Be Infringed at 9. See you then.
SR1 Sundays.
Sunday night at 6 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary.
South Dakota Senator John Thune is our newly selected Senate Majority Leader. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Our nation's economic problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight. Dr. Ron Paul here, and this is why I recommend diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold, a proven bedrock in any economy, with my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold. Text the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Pick Minnie and the mega camp we're hoping for, but in a secret ballot vote, the Senate has selected South Dakota Senator John Thune as the new Senate Majority Leader. As a South Dakotan, I humbly beg John Thune not to embarrass my state. Thune has been Mitch McConnell's right-hand man for years, so while it's not ideal, it's not shocking he assumed this position. Senator Thune has been critical of Donald Trump and his mega agenda in the past and quite publicly. While this concerns me, I am somewhat comforted to hear Thune reassure us mega folk that he will be a good custodian of the Trump agenda. After all, the Trump agenda is a mandate from the American electorate. It's not just a suggestion. In Trump's first term in office, many Republican members of Congress let him and the American voters down by either stonewalling Donald Trump's agenda or making it far more difficult than appropriate. Well, I hope they've learned their lesson. We the people, quite frankly, demand it. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
The Wheel of Audio Clips brought to you by Senior Memorial. With the average funeral bill over $9,000, are your loved ones prepared? Call 314-866-8886 or memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Whoosh.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
As President Lincoln said,
what, do you have a cough due to cold? Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Yes, it is. And again, our thanks to Michael Proctor for coming in.
Yeah.
And talking to us a little bit about what he does, but also how happy he was to see the results of the election.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. And he's just so passionate about his business, and he does it all himself. That's what I find just amazing. You really benefit from that.
When you call, you get him.
You get him.
Yeah, not somebody else.
No.
And I also think that, you know, if you are somebody who is apolitical, let's not even say a liberal, let's say somebody completely apolitical, don't care.
Right.
You're going to see benefits of Donald Trump being the president, and you might not even know why. And you want to know the truth? I don't even care if you know why or not. Because the reason is Donald Trump.
You'll be like, oh, things are happening really nice these days.
Yeah.
The sun is shining brighter for some reason.
Who's president now? Oh, my goodness, Donald Trump. All right, let's go. Let's end this working week.
Audio clips!
It's America's favorite game show, The Wheel of Audio Clips. Here's the host of Wheel of Audio Clips, Vic Porcelli.
Thank you, Jim Mojo and Ken Williams. Thank you so much. Studio audience, oh my God, ladies, I love you so much.
It's the Wheel of Audio Clips. So what this basically is you take, you know, every radio show plays clips, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Some radio shows say, hey, you know, here are the big audio clips of
Some
the
radio
week.
shows are stupid.
You know who I'm doing?
Yeah.
A couple of audio clips that we play. Oh, here's number one.
I can't say.
You might know who I'm talking about. Anyway, we do it a little differently here because I don't think we do anything conventional on this show. So we have this big wheel, and all the audio clips are placed on little cards, and Ken puts them all on the wheel there, and then he spins the wheel, and wherever it lands is what we play.
Right.
I think that's fun.
It's a nice wheel, too.
Okay.
We take good care of it.
Did you WD-40 it?
I
this morning?
did, and
Okay.
I shined it up.
Let's give it a spin.
All right.
Oh, it does sound good.
A little
Sounds
bit
nice
better.
and smooth.
And it has this Trumpian feel to it now.
Does it?
Yeah.
Like it might land on Donald Trump?
I don't know.
Yeah, it better. Never does. Oh, wait. This is good. Steve Bannon out of prison now, and he had a great quote that we can all live by.
So the one thing I have to say to Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, Jack Smith, Tish James, Alvin Bragg, you wait. The hunted are about to become the hunters. Thank you very much.
Oh, I like that. So Jack Smith resigned, or is going to resign?
Yeah. He wants to get out of town. I think he's going to change his
He
name.
better. Yeah. To something like Jack Smith, something real generic. Oh, wait, that is his name.
But Vic, if he did everything right, which you wouldn't have done it in the first place, but I'm saying if he would have done everything right, he wouldn't have to leave.
Yeah. And that's even prior to Donald Trump, because his record as a prosecutor is terrible.
Awful. Yeah.
I don't even know how he got a job to begin with.
Well, all he had to say was he hated Trump. That's how he got the job.
Don't let the country hit you in the ass on your way out.
There you go.
Right?
You
Let's go. Spin the wheel. Jack Smith. I still think of that person on Baxter Road that actually had a Jack Smith flag. And boy, I'll tell you what, on November 6th, that was done and gone. Oh, this guy's back in the news because this guy's back in the administration. He is, and he proudly takes the moniker of border czar. He's not going to mess around 2 years later and say, I wouldn't have a border czar, eh?
Oh, he's up for the occasion. He loves this.
It's Tom Homan.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
That was such a stupid question that it deserved a stupid answer. Not that Tom's was a stupid answer. His was just the basic, well, yeah, we could send them all out at once.
Yeah, I think it was an amazing answer, actually.
No, it was. It was amazing. But she didn't think he was going to give that to her. She thought he was going to say, oh, I don't know. Like he's going to catch. She thought she was going to catch him off guard. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, I agree with you. And you know what I think the biggest problem with the media today is that they think they're going to ask certain questions, and then the opposition, us, are going to fold or get all frustrated and flustered and not answer them.
Yep.
Well, guess what, gang? They're answering and they're being given honest answers, and they're not used to it.
Yeah. Susie Moore will tell you, a lawyer knows this. Never ask a question that you don't know the answer to.
Yeah.
Because you know what's coming and you know how to defend against that or attack that if it's incorrect or a lie like comes out of the left most times. All right, let's do another spin of that wheel. Kenny Williams. Funny, I want to root for Trump, but I don't see much Trump on the wheel. Hope it stops on him. Yeah, no. You never get what I want. But this is some commentary about Donald Trump from Ready. Brace yourself. You might want to pull over before you hear this from ABC News.
In just 71 days, Donald Trump will be sworn in again as president of the United States. His comeback victory, unlike anything we have ever seen in American history. Just take a look at the final results. With Arizona now projected for Trump, he locks in a sweeping victory in every single battleground state. And Trump did more than that. He made big gains with young voters and with Latinos, doing better among Hispanic voters than any Republican presidential candidate since the first exit polls were conducted in 1976. He even did better among women than when he ran against Joe Biden.
So we'll need that exact thing in a minute.
Okay.
That guy right there.
Yeah.
First of all, he's on ABC News saying all these great things about Trump. I'm wondering if after he got off the air and he walked outside, if the big black limousine didn't pull up, put a bag over his head. 4 guys come up, put a bag over his head and throw him in the car. What are you saying good things about Trump for? And by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but that guy said Latino.
Yes, he did.
Just like that. Latino.
Not Latinx.
He didn't feel the need to go Latinos.
Oh, I got you. And he didn't say Latinx. Because they do. They say that now.
But my point, Ken,
yeah.
Not that your point is not perfect. You're not speaking with any sort of foreign accent at all.
Right.
Right? You're just a newscaster speaking in a normal, that normal, no accent, no regional dialect.
Yeah.
But you feel the need to say Latino.
Right. I get it now.
Why?
Why?
What's
the point?
If a Republican did it, you'd be accused of making fun of Latinos.
Always revert back to your thought of what do you say when you're talking to your friends? How do you speak when you're speaking with friends?
Exactly. So,
hi, everybody. How you doing? My friend over here is Latino. He's Latino.
Oh my God!
And I really love him, and I just want you to meet this guy because he's Latino, and she's Latina. She's Latina.
And by the way, there's my abuelo and my abuela. Because
they don't speak that way.
Right, because they're so fake. You're exactly right. Nobody is going to do that. If people speak in a normal, even if you do have a regional dialect, I'd be like, hey, how you doing? I got this friend I want you to meet. He's Latino, and he's going to eat with us tonight, all right? So make him some ravioli and let's go. He wants a good Latino meal. I hate it. I hate it.
It's a pet peeve of mine a little bit too.
Because we can't do it. We're not allowed to do that. If a lefty right now, if Michael Burton is listening right now, Vic Porcelli is making fun of Latinos on the air.
Yeah. And we're not.
No, we're making fun of you.
We're actually protecting, right.
All right, Ken, that was so great. Meet my friend, he's Latino.
Latino. And Latina too.
What's his name? Irving. No, it's not. Spin the wheel. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So CIA is going to be John Ratcliffe. But what about, it's like the wheel was reading my mind. I was going to say, what about the FBI?
Yeah.
What if it were Kash Patel? Wouldn't that be great?
The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big, and the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
Has Christopher Wray resigned yet? I think he should.
I think he should too.
Because you know he's not going to be in there. If he was sitting there testifying in front of a House committee and he says, with all due respect to Donald Trump, but I think he just got hit with some shrapnel. He didn't really get hit with the bullet. When he said that, I knew his time as FBI director were numbered.
Yeah.
So the hell with him. I want to see that guy right there, Kash Patel, be the FBI director. And then maybe, Ken, we can go on a field trip, you and I, and go visit the Museum of the Deep State.
Oh, that'd be great.
Which used to be the FBI building. Can we do like one more little short one? That's one more.
All right.
I'm calling it audible here. It's not on the schedule, but I thought we might be able to spin the wheel one more time and do one. All right.
Our weekly look at audio clips of the week.
You know what I'm doing, right? Well, I'll be darned.
Oh, yeah.
President Donald John Grover Cleveland Trump, go!
We'll immediately end Joe Biden's war on American energy. We will quickly end his inflation nightmare. And we will drill, baby, drill.
Yeah,
That's what
baby.
we're going to do. We're going to drill.
Oh! One of our stream things has Donald Trump in a convertible holding a sign that says, "Hold on, I'm coming." I don't know if we're going to be able to finish this.
I know.
Because I have to say that's all the time we have for the wheel. And I know sometimes I mess you up like this because we're already coming up to that time. Let it go. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you Monday. Have a good weekend. Thanks for having the record player on night this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
See ya!
And on the weekend, my working week's so tough, I think I've had enough until the weekend. And on the weekend, and on the weekend, and on the weekend.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewstalkSTL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Need reliable auto service from people you can trust? Look no further than Western Tire and Auto.
For over 15 years, we've been your complete automotive repair center, family-owned and operated, with owner Dean Kleethermes bringing 30 years of industry experience. At Western Tire and Auto, you're not just a customer, you're family. We promise 100% satisfaction, treating you with the transparency, respect, and honesty you deserve. Visit us in St. Peter's or in Florissant. For appointments, call or check westerntireauto.com. Western Tire and Auto, your local automotive experts since 2008.
Looking for top quality tactical gear and expert advice? Look no further than Discount Tactical, your one-stop shop for all things firearms and self-defense. Located in the heart of Warrenton, we've been serving the community for 3 years with our friendly, professional, and knowledgeable staff. From custom AR builds and silencers to the largest selection of parts, we've got you covered. Self-defense weapons, SBRs, knives, ammo, custom holsters, weapon lights, optics, and body armor. Discount Tactical. Online at discounttacticalarmory.com or stop by today and gear up with confidence.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
This hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. U.S. retail sales rose last month.
Retail purchases increased by 0.4% from September to October, a solid increase, although less than the previous month's robust 0.8% gain. Auto dealers, restaurants, and electronic stores all reported higher sales. Last month's rise in retail purchases suggests that the economy is growing briskly again in the current October to December quarter.
That's correspondent Jeremy House. Since peaking at 9.1% more than 2 years ago, inflation has sunk to near optimal levels, and Americans' take-home pay, on average, has surpassed inflation for about 18 months. Also at townhall.com, President-elect Trump has picked environmental lawyer and vaccine skeptic Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to head the Department of Health and Human Services. Details from Bernie Bennett.
Trump wrote on Truth Social, quote, "For too long, Americans have been crushed by the industrial food complex and drug companies who have engaged in deception, misinformation, and disinformation when it comes to public health." He continued, quote, "Mr. Kennedy will restore these agencies to the traditions of gold standard scientific research and beacons of transparency to end the chronic disease epidemic and make America great and healthy again." Kennedy has said that all the divisions need reform and plans to replace many staff members throughout the agency. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
Mr. Trump also announcing that he has chosen Doug Collins, a former congressman from Georgia, to run the Department of Veterans Affairs, and was nominating North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum to lead the Department of the Interior. And Mr. Trump has met with the Argentine president at Mar-a-Lago, the first foreign leader to visit with the president-elect. Stocks sharply lower, the Dow dropping 324 points, the NASDAQ down 418. More at townhall.com.
Our nation's problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight, which is why we must prepare now for a financial collapse that will affect the entire economy. The good news is there's an easy way to do that. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe everyone should consider a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group to diversify their IRA or 401k. Gold is a proven bedrock in almost every kind of economy. To learn more, get a free info kit from my trusted friends at Birch Gold by texting the word PREPARE to 989898. Don't wait until decades of government irresponsibility comes crashing down on your retirement. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group now. Text PREPARE to the number 989898. That's PREPARE to 989898.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Patchy but thick morning fog dissipates mid-morning, and then the rest of our Friday looks great. Mainly sunny skies, a mild high near 60 this afternoon. We'll have to watch for fog again overnight tonight and early Saturday with clear skies and a chilly low near 42. How about a weekend warm-up? Yeah, partly cloudy Saturday, a high of 63. More clouds on Sunday, but warmer, up to 68 Sunday afternoon. Let's be ready for some rain on Monday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Ready to soar beyond your limits? The U.S. Air Force and Space Force offer more than just a job. It's a launch pad for your future. With over 200 career paths, competitive pay, benefits, free education, 30 days paid vacation, and a chance to travel the globe, all while serving your country with pride. Your journey starts here. Call Jeremy Jefferson in St. Louis at 314-295-6834 or visit airforce.com and spaceforce.com today.
Looking for that perfect farm fresh flavor? For over 25 years, Anthony's Produce has been St. Peter's favorite harvest destination. Bundle up with our premium firewood delivery service and make your Thanksgiving gathering unforgettable with our gorgeous party platters of fresh fruits and veggies. Wow your guests with Anthony's stunning fruit bouquets and decadent chocolate-covered strawberries. Open year-round daily from 7 to 5, 701 Juggerman Road and at anthonysproduce.com. Anthony's Produce, bringing farm fresh goodness to your table since 1997.
Looking for a cruise vacation? Cruise.com is offering its exclusive sale of the year to all listeners to this station. Every major cruise line, including Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, MSC, and more, are on sale now. Call 1-800-507-9264 and book one of these deals while supplies last. Cruises start from as low as $39 per person per day. There isn't a better vacation value to places like Alaska, Europe, the Caribbean, South America, and more. Call one of the largest cruise specialists in the world at 1-800-507-9264. We'll find you a vacation that includes drinks, Wi-Fi, excursions, and more. Call 1-800-507-9264. That's 1-800-507-9264. Space is limited. Don't miss your opportunity to book the best deal of the year. That's 1-800-507-9264. Sponsored by Cruise.com.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Filling in for Dan, Jim Verdi, and Evita Duffy Alfonso.
Good afternoon. It's producer Jim and Evita in for Dan today. Dan taking a much-needed day off after a busy election season. We'll see his weekend update when he gets back. I'm sure he'll have a lot to talk about when he gets back. I wanted to start today. We're going to keep up the good work. We're going to keep up the good vibes. That's right, the good Kamala vibes. And we're gonna go into some of these other picks that were just named yesterday. But I wanted to start off the show today. I was just watching. I don't know if you saw any of this, Evita, because I know you were busy doing your own podcast as well. But they were showing live on Fox the Laken Riley trial, and something that struck me is one of the witnesses that they had up there was the police officer who found her, and they're playing basically his body cam footage as he's giving her CPR and doing the counts. And then they take the camera and the camera goes over to the alleged murderer and shows his face. And I'm looking on his face for any kind of pain, any kind of remorse, any kind of regret, any kind of sorrow. I wasn't seeing it. I can't get in his head. I don't know what he was feeling by that. Obviously, there's also a language barrier, because he had the little headset in, I guess, where they have an interpreter that says what's going on. So there could be a language gap, and maybe that has something to do with the exterior of this. But to me, just seeing this, it's like this is a scene playing out in a court that did not have to happen, and that it's because of the policies of the last administration that it did happen. And that's provably so. This was a man who was caught and released. And now, after this election, the results of this election are because of things like this. And I'm just praying that we can get this kind of thing to end.
Yeah. And Jim,
I have to tell you that when I was seeing photos of her, seeing the look on that murderer's face, I was thinking of my little sister. She's 21. Ugh. She's in college. She goes on runs. I mean, this could have been anyone's sister or wife or daughter. And to know that we're making, and this is, you talk about women's issues. We talked about it a lot during this cycle. And abortion was the center of the Kamala campaign. And Trump, they actually slammed him for saying, you know what? I am going to protect women by making them safer, by getting these illegal criminals off our streets and out of our country. How was that controversial, Jim? I mean, I heard that from Trump and I thought, thank goodness that my sister is going to be protected from the fate of Lincoln Riley and all of these other individuals who have been murdered or raped or assaulted by illegals who should not be in this country.
And make no mistake about it, like I said, and I will reiterate this again, this was a purposeful decision by this current administration to allow these people to wander around the country free, to be able to do whatever they wanted to do. And that is why I am so glad that not only have we won, but that we still have to be cautionary, because there's a lot at stake right now. While we've won the Senate and it looks like we've won the House as well, even though they're still fighting tooth and nail on that, but we've won the House, that we have to get President Trump's appointments to go through. We have to get a complete and total change. And, you know, I'm hoping that John Thune sticks to his word to push through these appointments. Yesterday on the podcast, Dan had some comments on this. I want you to listen close, and then we'll hear a little bit more from John Thune after, and Evita and I will discuss what we think we might be able to expect from this. Listen to Dan yesterday.
John Thune yesterday won the Senate majority race, okay? It's over. I'm not wasting any more time on it at this point. There's nothing to waste our time on. He was not my pick. My pick was Rick Scott. It's obvious. He was on the radio show twice. It didn't work out. We're not going to win them all. I wish we would have won that one. We didn't. Now let's hope Thune sticks to his word. It's up to you as the residents of South Dakota and elsewhere to keep this guy on track. Yesterday, he said that he's all about the Trump agenda and getting these nominees pushed through. I want you to do me a favor. Cut this video right here, folks, and keep it on your phone, because if these guys bury Gates and others, we're going to tell them, wait, didn't you just say you're going to push these guys through? Because we have the video. Watch this.
And when it comes to choosing nominees who will pass Senate confirmation?
Well, as you know, the Senate has a advise and consent role under the Constitution, so we will do everything we can to process his noms quickly, get them installed in their position so they can begin to implement his agenda.
Okay, listen, I'm not being a about it. I'm just saying, you said it. You said you will, quote, do everything you can to get them processed quickly. We're just holding you to your word. We're withholding judgment. We wanted someone else. That didn't happen. That race is over. I'm a tactical guy. There's no sense wasting time on a race that's already finished. You don't put your money on a horse that's already lost the race, okay? That race is over. You go to bet in the next race now. But you said it, and now we're going to hold you to it. And we're expecting these people to be pushed through. You said it. Folks, the one guy we've got to get through in a critical position is Pete Hegseth. We've got to do everything. I want to prepare you right now. This confirmation hearing, if it's not a recess, is going to be brutal. They are going to do everything they can. Do you have any idea how many, I'm talking trillions here, and that's not an Austin Powers mistake. Trillions of dollars of defense contracts over decades are at stake here. There is not a more broken process than Pentagon procurement and our DEI woke military management than this. They do not want Hegseth because he's a change agent. They are terrified of him. We've got to burn a lot of capital in this. We've got to make sure he gets through. It is going to be a horrendous confirmation process for him. He's ready for it. He's a door kicker, but this is one we need. If we don't reform our military, listen to your guy. We are not going to have a country. There's not going to be a freaking country left. I'm telling you right now, we've got to get this done. Gates and Hegg said we got to get it done.
So that was Dan yesterday, and he's absolutely right. And that was before the other picks that were announced actually yesterday. We're going to get to that, the RFK pick and everything else. But he's right about that. And now you know Pete a bit, don't you, Evita?
Oh yeah, I know. He was at my wedding.
Well,
I know Pete well.
Okay, so in your opinion, you haven't gotten to speak on the radio show about this yet. When they announced the pick, what were your thoughts?
I mean, first of all, I had no idea it was going to happen. I was completely surprised by it, like everybody else, and I just thought this was the greatest decision that Trump could have ever made. And what makes me know that it was the greatest decision, Jim, is the reaction to him. Mm-hmm. You had Politico running an article with a quote, "Who the F is this guy?" from a lobbyist for a defense contractor. So the war machine, the defense contracting industry, the merchants of death are freaking out over this nomination because Pete Hegseth isn't involved in the dirty merchant of death industry. He's just a regular guy who served. He's a combat veteran. He's been honored in the military. He's a National Guardsman. He's a good, patriotic man who has served his country really well and doesn't have the slimy ties that a lot of these other members of the higher up in the military have, and that's why they oppose him, and that's why, frankly, Jim, I support him.
And you can see it at an event like the Patriot Awards, which I got to attend just one time, and it was great. It was thrilling. His passion when he speaks about veterans, when he speaks about people who put their lives on the line for other people, it's real. It's coming out of him. That's where his concerns lie. It's not in any of this fake garbage that you're going to say something politically to go along to get along. I think he's going to make major changes in the military.
And he's and Jim, he's so against the wokeifying of our military. He's somebody who says, you know what? It's ridiculous to say diversity is our strength. When you're in the military and you have to rally together around a common enemy, diversity is not your strength. It's unity. He is somebody who promotes unity. He's somebody who wants to get rid of all of the DEI crap that is infesting our military and make us more effective and more lethal, which in turn, Jim, makes us safer.
Yeah, and the whole thing, the whole point of the military, the whole point of what they do in boot camp, any military guy can call, tell me if I'm wrong about this or not, 844-484-3872, 844 for the USA. But the whole point of boot camp is to strip you down of your individual self and make you work and become a cohesive unit, to work as one unit, to be a lethal unit, to be able to defeat the enemy. It's not so you can express your own personal well-being, or who you are. Nobody cares who you are. That's what drill sergeants are told to tell these guys. Break them down and then build them up to become a unit. And we can't have, like you said, this DEI and woke garbage in the military is actually lethal to the military.
Yes, it is. Jim, I mean, I don't know if you have family that served. My grandfather was born in the United States. His parents were from Mexico. And he's the first person in his family to even graduate high school. He, dirt poor. His dad did tons of different jobs. He didn't even have money for shoes growing up. That's how poor he was. And the military saved him. The military got him out of spending the rest of his life working in the coal mines, literally, and he and saved him from really just a really negative environment that would have brought him down. Really, it's an opportunity for people. It always has been of a place to serve your country and to pull yourself out of just really despair for a lot of people. And the military has become something much different than what it was when my grandfather went in and a lot of other people served. It's a place that, people who have served for generations have said, I'm not going to tell my son and daughter to enlist anymore because it's not the same. It's not what it once was. And I think Pete Hegseth is going to take on that Trump brand and make the military great again.
My dad has a similar story like your grandfather's. My dad came from a broken home. Parents divorced when he's a young man. His dad died at 12 years old. Lived on the streets of Brooklyn, basically just living on the streets, getting in trouble. Probably would have wound up in jail or dead, but he was a smart person. And he said, you know what? This is not the kind of life I want. So he joined the Navy. So my dad joined the Navy. Navy taught him a skill. And he became pretty, he wasn't rich ever by any stretch of the imagination. But for him, successful from where he came from and, made a good life for our family. My brother joined the Navy, which still makes me mad to this day. And the only reason is nobody in my family ever graduated from college. So I decided I was going to be the first to graduate from college. And because I considered going, I was going to take the AFSAB to get into the military. And I was like, I got to beat my brother. I'm like, I'm not going to let him beat me on the college thing. I'll do college and then maybe I can join later. So my brother then goes to college and then he drops out and joins the Navy. And that made me even madder. But so my brother was a Navy guy. My grandfather was on a hospital ship outside of the European theater on the Verdi side. We covered the entire European theater. These were immigrants. These are first generation immigrants that actually fought in Italy. They were Italian immigrants that fought in Italy against Italy. There were some that are on the beaches of Normandy, not necessarily on D-Day, but like D-Day +6. My uncle Mike was a guy who was one of 3 guys left living in the first Marine invasion of Guadalcanal. And one of those guys got the Congressional Medal of Honor, actually by saving my Uncle Mike. But yes, the military is a big, big deal to me. And when you think about those men, like I just talked about in World War II, who are basically in their late teens, early 20s, some of them even earlier teens, the people today, we have to find more of those. We're not finding enough of those. I'm sorry. I want you to comment. Let's comment when we get back. I took this way too long. I'm sorry, Vita. But we will continue this more when we get back. It's Jim and Avita filling in for Dan on the Dan Bongino Show.
Bongino. Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
Henry Repeating Arms makes rifles and shotguns that are accurate right out of the box, with performance and craftsmanship that can't be beat. And we make them here in America, backed by a lifetime guarantee. Henry's come in a wide variety of calibers and finishes and can be used for hunting, sporting, home, and land defense, and by beginners. Be sure to order our free catalog and decals to see the collection from the comfort of your own home. Visit henryusa.com for a free catalog and decals. henryusa.com for a free catalog and decals.
Dan Bongino.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you for taking my call. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Every day, something new. No one else is really talking about this.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too.
Trump's doing the right thing.
You know, there's so many issues.
It's over.
I think you're politically wrong.
Very upset.
I will have to agree with you.
You're one of the sweetest guys in the world for a guy who's so bad on politics.
101.9 and 94.1.
Your platform is like really, really important to us.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Parents want more choices rather than fewer when it comes to their children's education. And now some Missouri parents will have one more option to get their children the best education available. Low-income students and those with disabilities in Missouri's largest communities can now apply for an Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA. With an ESA, the money the state would normally pay to your child's public school goes into an account that you control. You can use the funds for private school tuition, online learning programs, a private tutor, or other approved uses. You can tailor your child's education. For too long, Missouri officials have operated on the mistaken notion that parents only need one choice. They're assigned public school based on their address. ESAs put parents in charge. It's school choice at its best, with money following the students to the place that best fits their needs. Learn more at ShowMeInstitute.org. This Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
I want you to know that McGuire Moving and Storage is silver certified, which means McGuire has a quality reputation helping older adults move local or long distance. And something else to know, Josh McGuire, president of McGuire Moving and Storage, is the only certified moving consultant in Missouri. I'll tell you, once you met Josh, you're going to know your move will be easy. And I fully endorse McGuire Moving and Storage. McGuireMoving.com.
Greece is cheap,
but the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
Chris Arps here, and I'm thankful for my relationship with Christ, my wonderful wife, Becky, and the opportunity to speak to the great listeners of News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo, and as we approach another holiday season, I am thankful that my family continues to be happy and healthy. Oh, and I'm also glad I don't work for George Soros.
News Talk STL, celebrating family and friends this season of Thanksgiving. Brought to you by Mobile Magic Auto Body, Blue Sky Apparel and Promotions, and Super Smokers Barbecue. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Turn it up to make sure your liberal neighbors finally hear some common sense. The Dan Bongino Show.
This is Avita and Jim in for Dan Bongino. He'll be back next week. We're talking about Pete Hegseth, new Secretary of Defense, and what a disruptive and awesome selection that was on behalf of Trump. And I have to tell you, Jim, one of the best reactions that I saw was an MSNBC interview where this commentator was essentially saying that he's a dangerous pick, Pete Hegseth, because he is a Christian nationalist.
Yes.
He's a warrior. He is a flaming sword for Christ. And I'm going to read you some of these actual quotes they used to describe Pete Hegseth. Big, beautiful, and muscular, alpha male, wow, out of central casting. And I listened to that, Jim, and I thought, oh my goodness, they're making me love Pete Hegseth even more. Are they trying to sell Pete Hegseth to me?
Almost sounds like he's got a crush on him. I
exactly
don't even know what to make of that. But that is the funny thing is, and the other people who are trying to discount him is, oh, he hired a Fox TV host to be completely discounting his entire military service, his 20 years in, his 2 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, his 2 Bronze Stars. You know, we're going to completely discount that. But that's the point. And this is what we're going to get into in the next half hour, too. We're going to talk about, because Dan had talked about this, and I'll have a clip of him talking about it, is how Trump is rolling these picks out. So the left will lose their minds each day over a different pick. And then while that's gone, I mean, Pete was 2 days ago. What are they reacting about today? Oh my God, it's RFK. What are we going to do? You know, so Pete's even forgotten about for the most part. So we're going to get into that, break that down, a little bit more about what John Thune has to say about the whole thing. Keep listening. It's Avita and Jim filling in for Dan on the Dan Bongino Show.
Today, we welcome our newest sponsor of the show, Byrna. Byrna is a game changer in self-defense. Look, when it comes to protecting your loved ones, it's not just about having a firearm. Lethal force isn't the answer for every situation. Imagine an imminent threat comes your way and your family. Instinct may drive you to reach for a lethal option right away. What if there were a way to effectively defend yourself and de-escalate a situation without the irreversible consequences of deadly force? Byrna, B-Y-R-N-A, their non-lethal pistol launcher equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammo can incapacitate an attacker for up to 40 minutes. It's an amazing product. No need to go all the way. We just need protection to confidently ensure we can defuse the situation and drive the threat away immediately. I like to have that non-lethal option available to me. Byrna is the best one out there. B-Y-R-N-A, made in America. Legal in all 50 states, requires no background checks, and shipped right to your door. Visit Byrna.com/Dan now for an exclusive 10% discount for my listeners today. That's B-Y-R-N-A, Byrna.com/Dan. That's Byrna.com/Dan. Go today, check it out. You won't regret it.
Dan Bongino.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Americans stepped up their spending at retailers last month in the latest sign that healthy consumer spending is driving the economy's steady growth. Retail sales rose 0.4% from September to October. That's a solid increase, though less than the previous month's robust 0.8% gain. A 1.6% jump in sales at auto dealers drove much of the gain. President-elect Donald Trump keeping busy. He will nominate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to serve as Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. Mr. Trump also announced that he's chosen Doug Collins, a former congressman from Georgia, to run the Department of Veterans Affairs, and was nominating North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum to lead the Department of the Interior. On Wall Street, the Dow dropping 338 points, the NASDAQ down 427. This is SRN News.
Our nation's problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight, which is why we must prepare now for a financial collapse that will affect the entire economy. The good news is there's an easy way to do that. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe everyone should consider a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group to diversify their IRA or 401k. Gold is a proven bedrock in almost every kind of economy. To learn more, get a free info kit from my trusted friends at Birch Gold by texting the word PREPARE to 989898. Don't wait until decades of government irresponsibility comes crashing down on your retirement. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group now. Text PREPARE to the number 989898. That's PREPARE to 989898.
The news and talk. Former President Donald Trump will be our next president. That matters to St. Louis.
We're going to help our country heal.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
The Republican Party of the City of St. Louis wishes you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, no matter how you celebrate the season. Join the City of St. Louis Republicans for their annual holiday party, December 18th at PH Rose. There'll be a silent auction, raffle, and plenty of holiday cheer. Go to stl-gop.com to get your tickets and learn more. The City of St. Louis Republicans wish you a joyous holiday season and a prosperous new year.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Psst. Want to hear the best kept secret in St. Louis? Steph's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares. According to our customers, we have the best St. Louis style pizza anywhere. And we can't disagree. Dine in, pick up, or delivery at all three Steph's Pizza locations. In Lake St. Louis at 111 Potterford Trail, St. Peter's on Juggerman, and in St. Charles on Zumbell. Check us out at Steph'sPizza.com. Steph's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares.
Tony Colombo here for the Farmers Co-op Old Town Country Store in Old Town St. Peters, where they have a huge selection of products and services for your yard and home, including a full line of lawn and garden products, a full line of products for animal care, and that includes anything from livestock to the family dog or cat. They'll fill any size propane tank for about half the price of a new one, and so much more. Visit them in St. Peters on 2nd Street, right behind the QT at 70 and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, and check out all their products and services at oldtowncountrystore.com.
Columbo and Company.
On Friday, we'll wrap up a busy week with all the latest news regarding the Trump team, plus Gabe Pfeiffer, Ken Williams, and the weekend forecast from Steve Templeton at 2:45.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Newstalk STL.
Any questions? Call 844-4-the-USA to get the answers. 844-484-3872. The Dan Bongino Show.
It's Jim and Avita filling in for Dan today. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate that. You want to get on? We can treat this like an open line Friday. There used to be open line Friday in this slot forever, for like 30 plus years. So we can do that and continue the tradition in honor of the great Rush Limbaugh. Give us a call, 844-484-3872, 844-4-the-USA. We've been talking about the Trump picks and the freak out on the left and what they mean. Well, Dan has been talking about why it's happening in this order. The left is freaking out about yesterday's pick about Robert F. Kennedy for Health and Human Services. And this goes on the heels of Matt Gaetz being appointed Attorney General the day before, Pete Hegseth being appointed for Defense Secretary the day before that. Dan kind of breaks out why this is happening in this order, and it's actually a genius move. Let's listen to what Dan had to say with this, and then Avita and I will talk about it.
Get them those horse blinkers on right here. Look straight ahead. This is super important. When the people who hate you and have weaponized government to destroy the constitutional republic, Donald Trump and you, the MAGA crowd, when the people who hate you are furious about something, they're furious about it for a reason, because they know there is a legal reckoning coming. That's why. And Trump, you've got to trust the plan. Trust what he's doing. Now, does it make sense why he's appointing people in this order? Some people, folks, are more mainstream picks. I told you yesterday, please listen to the show. And some of you got upset at me. It's fine. It's a family. I'm not the king here. I'm not the dad. I'm just part of the family like anyone else. I'm your uncle who likes some Casa Dragones once in a while. That's it. But your uncle's been around a little bit. I said to you, you're not going to like every pick because Trump is gaming this out perfectly. Folks in the chat, do you see what he's doing? Seriously, put it in there. I'm reading. He's announcing some picks that are loyalists. He's not putting anyone who's not loyal in there, but, may not have been the hardest conservatives or MAGA people in the past, but are loyal to him, and he knows he'll get the job done. Got a Rubio, you got a Noam, a Stefanik, a Lee Zeldin. I'm not knocking these people out. I'm just saying he's announcing some of them. He quiets down the temperature on the and then boom, boom. Who's got the people's elbow? Rocket in the chat. The people's elbow comes down. The people's elbow. This is what Rock'em Sock'em Robots is. You hit him, you hit him, you hit him. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this doesn't hurt so bad. Boom! There it is. There it is. People's elbow, man, just comes off the top rope. Macho Man Savage style. Do you see what do you think this is being done by accident? Trust your guy. Who, Dan? No, yeah, trust me, but Trump knows what he's doing, man. Give this guy some time. So let me just say a couple things. Cutesy time is definitely over, all right? This is what cutesy time is over looks like. All the right people are pissed off.
That's exactly 100% correct. Yesterday's a perfect example, okay? So here, Donald Trump announces that Doug Collins, the former congressman, is going to be Secretary of Veterans Affairs, okay? Not a lot of, hoopla about that. Nobody's saying anything. He just kind of rolls it out. And then just like Dan says, boom! RFK is announced as the United States Secretary of Health and Human Services. For too long, Americans have been crushed by the industrial food complex and drug companies who have engaged in deception, misinformation, and disinformation when it comes to public health. So he appoints RFK, and everybody just lost their collective minds.
Totally lost it. And I guess big pharma stocks were plummeting last night after this announcement, which is interesting. And for all of the outrage that we're seeing from the media, Jim, and even from the federal bureaucracy, I kind of feel like most regular Americans, left and right, are okay with this because health is bipartisan. We all want to be healthy. Everybody on the left and the right recognize that there is a sickness in American life. Our food is poisoning us, and our government is in bed with big pharma and big food, which has an interest in keeping us addicted to poor lifestyles and poor foods that keep us sick forever. So I think that this is actually a bipartisan issue, despite all of the controversy surrounding this announcement.
Right. And who was our current, does anybody even know who our current Secretary of Health and Human Services is?
Oh my goodness. I wish radio was not just audio, Jim, because we should have a side by side of what Rachel Levine looks like and what RFK Jr. looks like. It is a staggering difference. You have an obese, transgender identifying man versus RFK Jr., who's 70 years old and can do 20 pull-ups and bench press incline 100 pounds.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that this is happening. And we're supposed to take advice and let somebody come up with policy that really they haven't researched any of this stuff. So I don't understand. There's like no qualifications and no background for any of the current people that we have there. Now, the people on the left are absolutely on a daily basis, like we said, freaking out. And Dan just laid it out. Now, you have somebody like Mark Halperin, who is, definitely, probably, I don't want to say definitely, probably, you can't say definitely, probably, but probably a man of the left, I would say, for the most part. He was on ABC News forever and, left because of certain controversies, but he's been following this stuff forever. And before and after the election, he's been giving analysis on stuff. But this is the whole thing. And this is why I can tell he's most likely a man of the left. He just doesn't understand it. If he would have just listened to the podcast or the radio show the past few days, he'd understand what was going on. But listen, this is how the left is reacting. And they haven't quite gotten it yet. Listen to Halpern and the way he reacts to the way these picks are going.
The fact that after yesterday's reaction to Gates, he went forward with RFK. No normal president-elect would do that. Someone, the chief of staff designate, or someone would say to the president-elect, you've already got a lot of planes stacked up over LaGuardia. Don't bring another plane in that needs to land. It's too much. But he did. And in a normal transition, the nomination of Bobby Kennedy to head HHS, enormously controversial on multiple levels, would be like the biggest thing. And it would raise questions about the judgment of the operation. That's not what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with at least 5 just almost unfathomable choices for the normal rules.
That's just the thing that they don't get, Evita. These are not the normal rules anymore. We're not playing by the normal rules. The normal rules haven't gotten us anywhere.
And Jim, let me just say, all of the outrage from everyone in the corporate media and the deep state about all of Trump's picks, this is the playbook. This is 2016 2.0, where they say, look at all of these nominees. They're unqualified, just like they said Donald Trump is unqualified. They're trying to undermine the authority of these picks. They're trying to prime the American people into believing that somehow you need an expert who's been in Washington, D.C. for 30 years to hold these positions. And the reality is that's just not true. First of all, being in D.C. for a long time doesn't make you more smart. And in fact, it makes you more corrupt. And second of all, we have direct evidence that, for example, our own health apparatus in America is completely and totally corrupted to the point where it's actually making Americans less healthy. You have HHS yesterday, before the RFK announcement, tweeting on their X account that they're committed to increasing health equity and providing access to care for transgender and non-binary Americans. What does transgender care mean? Chemical castration and mutilation of healthy people. That's not healthy. That's not normal. That's not what somebody who actually cares about human flourishing would support. But that is what, and the transgender industry has become a multi-billion dollar industry, Jim. The same thing happened with COVID. We were told that, the experts have our best interests in mind. They know what's right for the rest of the country. The lockdowns didn't work. The masks don't work. The vaccines don't prevent you from contracting or spreading COVID. So we've been lied to. And we have been defrauded really by this entire federal bureaucracy, which is not smart, which is not helpful to the people. So we have to be clear-minded as they try and lob all these attacks on every single one of Trump's picks. They are not more qualified because they've been in DC for 20 years. And in fact, Trump's picks are going to be disruptive and threatening to the very people who deserve to, frankly, be in prison, many of them.
I think you just nailed it right there. What it all comes down to, and this is the big fear, it's two things, actually. It's money and jobs. They're afraid these people are going to go with a combination of people like RFK, Gates is a different thing because that's on the law side. We'll get to that in a little bit. But and Pete Hegseth, and then with the combination of Vivek and Elon Musk going through the books, it's going to be evident and transparent about how much weight they always talk about. We're going to get waste and fraud out of the government, and then they never do. This time it may actually be able to happen because we're going to see it. And if I just followed Department of Government Efficiency on X. I'm not sure if they have it on Truth yet. If they do, follow it there as well. But what they're going to do is they're going to post everything online when they find it. They're not in office yet, so you're not going to be seeing a lot of that. But this is where it's going to be, and you're going to see the waste, fraud, and abuse. And once you see it, as Americans, as the electorate, and the electorate knows all this. This is all baked in. This is what they ran on. They've been Trump was talking with Elon Musk for months about we're going to have this department that's going to go over all this money, and that's what freaks them out. They're going to lose their money. They're going to lose their jobs, and they can't have that. And they're going to throw every roadblock in the way that they can.
And the waste is staggering, Jim. In 2023, the federal government shipped $1.3 billion in checks to dead people via the IRS, Medicare, veteran groups. We paid Anthony Fauci $15 million worth of security detail last year. The guy's retired. He should be in prison, and we're paying $15 million a year for his security. No, that needs to end immediately. All of these experiments, all of this waste, things that are, we spent money, millions of dollars to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which sparked a pandemic that cost us trillions. So there's so much waste, and we're creating even more waste and problems for ourselves because we're investing in such terrible, terrible projects and funds that are just not worth American taxpayer resources. And I'm so happy that they're going to do this, Jim. I really am. I'm excited for the efficiency group. Well,
we got to make sure that they're going to do that. They have to put these guys through. We played a clip of Dan last half hour. He had a clip of John Thune in there. Here's John Thune just yesterday on the floor of the Senate saying what he's going to do. Let's listen if it sounds to you like he's going to actually get something done.
Taking action via reconciliation to preserve the tax relief Republicans delivered for Americans during the first Trump administration. It's also time to check the bureaucratic machine here in Washington, D.C. A key element of making America prosperous again is taking a hatchet to the regulatory apparatus choking our economy, starting with the 1,000 Biden-Harris regulations that have already cost Americans nearly $2 trillion. And of course, a major focus of both the Trump administration and the Republican Congress will be restoring American strength to promote peace at home and abroad. That includes restoring American energy dominance for the sake of both economic growth and our national security.
Now, that sounds like exactly what needs to be done, but it sounds good, but the problem is he's going to do it.
What's happening, Jim, is that Thune is terrified that Elon Musk is going to pour millions of dollars into a candidate to primary him, which Elon Musk has reportedly threatened to do to all these guys. So I think they're a little bit scared that for once they're actually going to be, these Senate seats are going to be held accountable for going against the Trump agenda. These guys are the worst. Jim, I don't know, do we have that clip from John Cornyn?
Yes.
So he penned a letter to Congress just like a couple days ago, saying that we are united and prepared to enact President Trump's agenda on day one, including taking advantage of the opportunities to confirm his nominees. So he wrote a letter promising to promote the Trump agenda by confirming Trump's nominees. And then he said this one day later.
I think there should not be any limitation on the Senate Judiciary Committee's investigation, including whatever the House Ethics Committee has generated.
I barely know Gates. All I know is he likes picking fights on social media. But at the end of the day, you got to have the votes and you better have the resume. That's how this process works.
That's Tom Tillis from North Carolina at the end there. But this goes to your point and what we have to worry about. You have people on our side that are potentially standing in the way of getting something done.
Yeah, definitely alluding to the fact that they don't want to nominate Matt Gaetz. And who knows what the political infighting is with Matt Gaetz. I know Kevin McCarthy said he will not be confirmed. They have some personal beef, of course. But at the end of the day, if you're here for your constituents, you're here for the American people. The American people elected Donald Trump. They elected you as a Republican senator to push forward the Trump agenda. And that you have these slime ball swamp rats saying we're going to stand in the way of really the will of the American people. It's disgusting. And if they do that, they deserve to be primaried out of Washington.
844-484-3872, 844 the USA. You want to get on the show? It's Jim and Avita filling in for Dan on the Dan Bongino Show.
Bongino.
Hey, for over 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, standing behind their service and their values as a company. They put the cause ahead of profits. I'm proud to partner with them. They're a great example. Right now, you can get their Every Friday Matters special today. Patriot Mobile is giving away a brand new smartphone when you make the switch. Patriot Mobile offers exceptional nationwide coverage, giving you access to all three major networks without your dollars funding the left. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're supporting a company that believes in free speech, religious freedom, the sanctity of life, the Second Amendment, and more. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team makes switching easy. Keep your number, and for a limited time, get a free smartphone. Go to patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT and use promo code Friday. Again, that's a free smartphone. Offers eligible only with the promo code Friday. It's a limited time offer or until supplies run out. Terms and conditions apply. Join me and make the switch today. patriotmobile.com/Dan, patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT.
Dan Bongino.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the NewstalkSTL app in the App Store or at NewstalkSTL.com.
Tim Jones here. For lunchtime, Capriati's cannot be beat, and I love the grilled chicken parmesan at Capriati's. I love Capriati's, and you will too.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Bring your whole family to the Moolah Festival of Trees this year and browse through a winter wonderland filled with over 40 exquisitely decorated Christmas trees and all the gifts. Each tree has a minimum value of $500, some worth up to $10,000. You can take a chance to win one of the beautifully decorated trees and all the gifts that go with it for as little as $1. While you're there, don't miss Kris Kringle Cafe with sweet treats and beverages available for purchase. Have your photo taken with Santa. Bring the whole family to the Moolah Shrine, November 23rd to the 30th.
With the average funeral bill over $9,000, are your loved ones prepared? Speak with Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial. Contact Benjamin at memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial, everlasting protection.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here. Join me every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL for a little fun with finance. We'll talk about taxes, the economy, finance, and most importantly, how to enjoy the lifestyle you deserve.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Tune in on Sunday and visit serenitynowtax.com for your free copy of my book, The New Holistic Retirement. That's serenitynowtax.com.
Serenity Now!
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The left is absolutely going crazy, hair on fire with the Trump nominees to serve in his cabinet.
Larry Connors USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
For months, we can exhale. Work can finally be done on the major issues this country is facing, one of the most significant being our national debt. Fact is, our nation is deep in the red, and that debt's a house of cards. It can't quickly be dismantled. So the strategy remains the same. Diversify your savings. That's why I buy gold from Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control, out of our president's control. It's important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group, my gold company, will help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. And the best news, doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. So text Bongino to 989898 and get your free info kit. Plus, right now through Black Friday, you'll receive a free 1-ounce Silver Eagle for every $5,000 purchase. Protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text Bongino to 989898. Claim your eligibility for free silver today. Message and data rates apply.
You can handle the truth. The Dan Bongino Show.
It's Jim and Avita filling in for Dan today. He'll be back on Monday. Let's go to the phones, take your calls. Let's go to Damon. Damon, what's happening? What did you got for us today?
Well, yeah, the liberal Democrats, they'd be freaking out no matter who gets picked because Trump picked them. So therefore, there has to be something wrong with them. You know, they're going to be fact-checking everything and going through the dustbins, you know, looking for anything they can to prove that these picks are Trump picks, and therefore there has to be something wrong with them, and they've got to try to resist in any way they can.
Absolutely, they're already doing it. Vita and I were just looking at a story about Pete Hegseth in the break. You know, they're starting to dig stuff up already, and meanwhile, you have the Biden administration who appoints people like the Sam Brintons and Rachel Levines, and it's no big deal.
We have to be ready for sure for this state to come at the Trump admin in full force. They tried to stage a coup the last time. There is a guarantee that they're going to do something again, potentially worse this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's you just have to be ready for it. They're coming, and they're not gonna relent. Okay, they are going to be coming after these people with everything that they have. The hearings, the committee hearings, when the Democrats have to ask questions, you just wait. You want to see a show, but I think we've got the right guys in there to answer those questions and to face those charges. Avita and I have a lot more coming up next. We're filling in for Dan on the Dan Bongino Show.
Tim Jones here with Eric from Newstetter's Fine Jewelers. Eric, we often talk about the Newstetter's difference that folks feel right when they walk into the front door of the store.
Newstetter's Fine Jewelry is truly where honesty and integrity meet. We're all about quality at a fair price. Our goal is to guarantee that the gift you give will be loved for a lifetime. Come in and meet our professional staff that will put your needs above all else.
Experience that fantastic Newstetter's difference today at wowdiamonds.com. Newstetter's Fine Jewelers, wowdiamonds.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewstalkSTL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. President-elect Trump has announced former Representative Doug Collins of Georgia, a chaplain in the Air Force Reserve, as his pick for the next Secretary of Veterans Affairs. Bernie Bennett with the story.
A lawyer by trade and a member of Congress from 2013 to 2021, Collins is a staunch supporter of Trump and was one of his biggest defenders in the House during Democratic-led impeachment hearings against the then president. Since leaving Washington, D.C., he served as legal counsel for Trump. Collins joined the Air Force Reserve in 2002 after serving 2 years as a Navy chaplain in the mid-1990s. He later deployed to Iraq in 2008 as part of the 94th Air Wing at Dobbins Air Reserve Base in Marietta, Georgia. Trump said in a statement, Collins will be a great advocate for current and former service members. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Also at townhall.com, on the economic front, General Motors is laying off about 1,000 workers worldwide, mostly white collar. Rita Foley has more.
GM has had to develop and update gas-powered vehicles while investing in electric vehicle battery and assembly plants. Last April, about 5,000 GM white-collar workers took the company's buyout offers. Chief Financial Officer Paul Jacobson said last month that GM is on track to reach its goal of cutting $2 billion in fixed costs by the end of this year. GM has about 150,000 employees worldwide, the largest group in the Detroit suburb of Warren, Michigan. I'm Rita Foley.
And North Carolina-based Advance Auto Parts is closing more than 500 stores. That announcement as the struggling car parts retailer posted disappointing quarterly results. Tropical storm Sarah has made landfall in northern Honduras and threatens to dump torrential rains across parts of Central America and southern Mexico. Stocks are sharply lower. The NASDAQ composite is down nearly 2.5%. More at townhall.com.
Our nation's problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight, which is why we must prepare now for a financial collapse that will affect the entire economy. The good news is there's an easy way to do that. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe everyone should consider a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group to diversify their IRA or 401k. Gold is a proven bedrock in almost every kind of economy. To learn more, get a free info kit from my trusted friends at Birch Gold by texting the word PREPARE to 989898. Don't wait until decades of government irresponsibility comes crashing down on your retirement. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group now. Text PREPARE to the number 989898. That's PREPARE to 98989.
Larry Connor's commentary brought to you by Senior Memorial and MemorialPlans.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
In training for my pilot's license, my instructor wanted to teach me how to get out of a death spiral. In those cases, you've lost control of the plane. Depending on your altitude, you are minutes, maybe even seconds from death as the plane spins around and around, headed to the ground. Obviously, I survived the lesson. But I currently see the leftist media in a death spiral, and they might pull out, some of them, but there will be casualties, all because they lied and pushed propaganda to us for years. And with the help of a weaponized government, they tried to not only control us, but destroy us. Payback can be hell. Ratings are so bad that MSNBC is being sold. CNN had fired 100 employees earlier this year. Now more firings are planned. I'll have more details of this in tonight's program. As Barack Obama had said, elections have consequences, and the leftists have no training to get out of the death spiral. They're getting closer and closer to impact. But in this case, it's not so much an accident as media suicide.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL. This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta, now open in the district of Chesterfield Valley. Napoli has the only coal-fired pizza oven. That means an incredible taste you cannot get anywhere else. So enjoy a unique pizza at Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the district. And then walk a few doors down and enjoy premium cigars and drinks at Lit Cigar Lounge. There's a perfect way to end the evening. Napoli Pizza followed by Lit Cigar Lounge, a winning combination.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Dardine Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
John Beal knows that right after a hailstorm, new roofing companies start popping up everywhere. But the Small Business Administration reports 96% of them go out of business within the first 5 years. So how good is that warranty? John Beal started in the roofing business, helping his granddad and his dad. Always offering the best roof, best price, best guarantee. John Beal Roofing, not some fly-by-the-night operation. Call my friend John, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
This hour, the Dan Bongino Show, brought to you by STL FenceWorks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Used to have in this particular time slot with the great Rush Limbaugh. Give us a call, 844-484-3872, 8444, the USA. If you want to get on with us, you can talk about any of the topics that we're talking about, or in the tradition of Open Line Friday. If you got something you want to talk about, go ahead and feel free to do that. We've been talking about these appointments, and we played a couple of clips from Dan last hour where he talked about why they're being rolled out in this manner, and then the importance of them being able to be pushed through by the Senate. RFK was appointed yesterday. This is the biggest freak out, just like what Dan was laying out, where he said he will do a couple of milquetoast kind of appointments like this and that, and then boom, he lays it on you, and he lays out a Matt Gaetz, or he lays out a Pete Hegseth. And yesterday it was RFK for Health and Human Services. Just listening to a report at the top of the hour with the great Bill Malugin, and Bill actually said something that I didn't even realize, that not only does this have to do with health, but it has to do with the border too. He's responsible for some border policy. So if you see it all playing out now here, what we have, Trump is keeping his promise on the border, where he has Tom Homan, who's the border czar, and then he's got Matt Gaetz as the attorney general, and now RFK on the border. So the border is a big concentration, and it's a big theme in most of these picks.
Yeah, so HHS is responsible for unaccompanied migrant children after they're transferred from DHS custody to the HHS Office of Refugee Resettlement. And why it's a big deal, that job explicitly is a big deal because right now we have thousands and thousands of migrant children who are just missing.
300,000.
Yes, hundreds of thousands, probably, unfortunately, to sexual trafficking. And so RFK Jr. has an opportunity, I think, to create a missing children task force to say we are going to find every one of these kids that the Biden and Harris admin has lost likely to trafficking. It would be it's what we need, frankly. It's a disgusting travesty that so many of these kids are lost and they deserve better. It's inhumane.
And it didn't have we started off last hour with the trial of the murderer of Laken Riley, and it's another thing. It's like with that didn't have to happen. Losing these kids didn't have to happen. RFK. Go ahead. Make your point.
Well, I was just going to say, we're told so often, Jim, that it's compassionate to have this open border because people are coming from terrible parts of the world, and we need to, bring in everybody because America is a home of migrants. And the reality, Jim, is that it is not compassionate or good to put your own people at risk, like we did with Laken Riley and so many others. And it's not compassionate to facilitate a human trafficking crisis at our border. It's inhumane. It's evil what the Biden admin has done with our immigration crisis.
No, we're treated like garbage. It's like if you're an American citizen, you're a second-class citizen. It's more important to welcome everybody from around the world, and you're just opening the door and letting everybody in. You wouldn't do that at your house, would you? If you
No.
Yeah.
I have the craziest story for you, Jim. My mom had an opportunity. I can't reveal how, but she had an opportunity to talk to some migrants who were being housed in a hotel funded by an NGO. And she said that in Spanish, the migrants from Venezuela were telling her, and mind you, they're illegal. They're here funded in a hotel by an NGO, that we're sending too many people into this country, that it's too much. The borders are too open. You guys have to get this under control. The illegal migrants in Spanish were telling my mother that our immigration crisis is too out of control. That's how you know it's bad.
Your mother, by the way, Rachel Campo, the great Rachel Campo Stuffy, in case people don't know. So we have to make that clear. A lot of new listeners and everything, but that's a funny story. No, I didn't know that at all. That's really crazy. So it goes to the thing. I think I've said this before. I don't know if I've ever said it on the radio, but it's like you get somebody to show up at your front door. You're going to open the door. You're going to ask them questions if you don't know about them, and you're going to make a decision as to whether you're going to